Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It is 3:12, and we just wanted to jump on real quick on our digital platforms only at this point. Just to give a little early heads up right now, our focus now is Sangamon County and Springfield specifically, but we're soon going to be adding others to that list. And potentially soon, we may have to extend that coverage to television if things progress in the direction we think they might be heading here. So that's something that we're keeping an eye on and whatnot. So we'll give folks a minute to jump on. And I am just checking some of my settings here. It looks like Kevin's not on yet, but we'll see if he hears. Seth, I'll let you text with Kevin and kind of figure that out as well. So let's talk real quick about what we're looking at. This is a big heads up for the city of Springfield right now, a big hailstorm coming into town here. And I'll show you on the sky cam here in a second. This storm here could have some ping pong to golf ball size hail. It would not surprise me if we had some hail over 2 inches with that coming to the southwest side of town. So that's going to be down there where 55 and 72 split. The state police headquarters is down here. It looks like it's going to be coming right over Lake Springfield and into the south side here. Route 4 carries around to the west side, Veterans Parkway, MacArthur Boulevard. This is probably coming right into the heart of Springfield with, again, some pretty big hail, and so the concern is there for that. I'm going to put up a sky cam real quick, and Seth, if you've got that sky cam on, first off, are you on microphone-wise, are you on 8?
Yes, I'm on 8, and I've got
perfect.
myself dialed up over here, so we are good.
Perfect. I've got you in my ears now, so I can hear you there, and I'll just turn that down a little bit. You got that sky cam on 2. It looks like we've got Champaign in 2, so I'm going to switch that over to Springfield here, and I'll let you take it away and do some driving. So there it is right now, and we're looking at that camera from downtown. This is looking, south and southeast? Is that the power plant there? So the storm is right here moving this way through the south and east side of town with some pretty big hail is what we're indicating on the radar there. If you want to pull that full screen real quick, that would be good to do. I'll cover that warning in a second here and whatnot. So that's the Springfield camera right now. Again, big hail coming into the south and southwest side of Springfield, and that'll be coming right through the heart of town. We'll be real curious to hear what sort of reports come out of Springfield. Radar is estimating golf ball size hail, and it's been increasing. It's been coming on through. So Southern View, Leland Grove, Springfield are where we're watching this hail come on in here, and just kind of checking out some of those other things in town. We do have the chat as well, and we'll be monitoring that. If you happen to get hail, the best thing you can do to help size it is to have an object next to it, a coin, and it doesn't have to be close to the size, but a quarter is a standard size object. Get that quarter and throw that on there, and if the hail's 2 inches, we can tell that by reference to that. So a quarter, nickel, a dime will work. You can use a golf ball if you've got one, if you're an avid golfer or something of that. But this is going to be coming right on in. It looks like it's going to be MacArthur and into Stanford here. Going to be coming pretty darn close to the, the White Oaks Mall. Likely getting some hail now. And also going to include the University of Illinois Springfield and Lincoln Land Community College in that. You can see are we zoomed out as far as we can?
Yes, we are, yep.
You can see on that screen there, see that left edge, that white? That's hail. That's exactly what that is. And so some big hail coming on into the city of Springfield now. And I'll pop the chat up to see if we've gotten any reports. Area-wide, there is a tornado watch until, is that 10 o'clock tonight? Do you remember, Seth?
I think it was
I think it was 11 Eastern, maybe, or is
maybe that was it. Maybe that was it since it.
So we got the tornado watch that's in place here. It's not going to last the whole time, but it is something that we'll have to monitor and continue to see here. Once this line of storms passes, we should be wrapping things up, but they're going to cause some issues for us here. So I'd like to run the chat real fast and just peek and whatnot. If you've got any hail, again, size-wise, be great to reference. Harriet saying pouring in Chatham. And let's see here. Haven't seen anyone else saying anything. So it's 10 p.m. Central, 11 p.m. Eastern is what that is. So something to keep an eye on. Okay, so this is the storm now here. You're coming right on in. It's in Southern View, coming in the south side of Springfield. Probably our camera is going to look real good there. Let me just pop that back up real fast. And going to pull that in to get a peek at it here. Lindsay's saying grape size hail. Now, Lindsay, grapes are different size. Is that, what's that more relative to, a coin? Is it going to be golf ball, quarter? Pea-size hail reporter in Girard. Wow, look at that camera. Getting walloped right now from this hail. And do we have control of that camera still?
Yes, we do. We should still be able to steer it around.
I'm thinking maybe we'll start to slowly pan it a little bit left and maybe try to. I mean, that thing is rocking and rolling here. This camera now downtown, we're facing south-southeast. You can see that white line. That's the railroad tracks that go through town there. And there is certainly some hail falling right on the rooftop there. You can see it bouncing around with the wind and whatnot there. So we got nickel and quarter. Lindsay saying it's nickels and quarter size hail in Leonard. Okay, we got a tornado warning now.
That's far
Fayette
south
County.
Fayette. Yep.
So
not quite Vandalia, but region south of it.
We will hold on that and not do television yet. But in a second here, if you want to get Max 1 on one of the sources, when we go on air, eventually we'll have to switch it. But I'll let you talk about that storm as we continue to watch. So it's going to cover that tornado warning down in Fayette County in a second. All right, got golf ball size hail, a report of golf ball size hail in Springfield. Stick that in the chat, let them know here. We've got quarter size Loami. Nickel size near Lake Springfield. Excuse me. So why don't you, Seth, if you want to take over for a second here, I'm going to let Seth talk real quick about that tornado warning. We are not cutting into TV yet for it, but he's got that up there. Seth, I'll let you take away with that and go ahead and talk about what we're looking at.
Yeah, with this one just outside of the area right now, at least the area of rotation is. Originally, this was a storm that was just severe warned with that tornado possible tag. They have now upgraded it there to an actual tornado warning. You can kind of see just a little bit of an area in here where there might be some of that rotation going on, some of these bright reds right there next to some of those greens there as well. So we are paying attention to that, seeing how that's going to progress. Again, this is just south of Vandalia. You are not included there in the warning if you're in Vandalia. There are some places down there that are just outside the region, places like Patoka there included in that warning.
And somebody did say that their phone went off in western Effingham County. I know that they're down kind of close to Altamont in that direction. So probably the wireless emergency alerts may be going off for some of those folks down there, but how far away the storm is, we're not going to cut it quite yet on TV, but we're keeping that digital coverage going. Seth?
Yep, that's absolutely right. Kind of getting to that point where we'll need to pay attention to see how this storm evolves as it gets closer and closer to kind of the Vandalia Effingham area. But even just here on the regular velocity, kind of in a little bit of transition zone between radars, between the St. Louis and the Evansville one. You can just kind of tell between where I scroll there, the colors change, which indicates you're switching radars. Either way, area of pretty strong winds up within the upper levels of that storm. So just kind of another thing to watch with it, even if no tornado eventually drops out of that. There is going to be some strong wind along with that as well. And just kind of give you a greater overview of everything that's happening. Lots of cellular storms just to our south as well. Southeastern Missouri getting a lot of action too with some of those tornado warnings, but very similar cells up this direction will find their way.
Did they
here.
just put the tornado possible tag in McCoop and Montgomery? Did I see that flash there?
It looks like it's outlined now. So I do believe.
I think they just
upped tornado possible on that one.
And Kevin is down by Oconee. Did I say that right? Oconee?
I think so.
I never remember.
To my knowledge,
he's south of Painted there. Well, let me just pull up Kevin's stream, and I don't know. I can't hear Kevin. I may need to flip something on for him.
Might be able to check here on my end real quick if I can. Pull him
I don't hear him on mine. I don't know if he hears us at all, but I'll just pull up his feed real quick. He's down there south of Painted, kind of watching these storms as they continue to work on through. So here's a view from Kevin. If we want to throw up there we go. So. That's a view of what he's at. He's kind of sitting there. He's going to be watching both those storms come on in. At this point, Springfield, the big hail is rolling on through town now, and it's moving pretty quick. Is our radar data keeping up with things here?
I want to say, I think ours is the one that you have on the monitor in front of me does not look like it's up to date.
That one's.
I think Max is on the spot here. Yeah, Max is a little ahead of the one you have there on the side.
Okay, that's what I'll make sure. Man, that's going to be some big hail there, Riverton. Big hail coming into Riverton here. And let's just take an estimate of our hail size with this particular storm. It's going to be Riverton. It's going to be Dawson, Buffalo, eventually up towards Cornland. Perhaps this may continue there, kind of along and south of Illinois 54 from Springfield. You can kind of see those gray splotches. Oh, if you want to get my thing back on there. We've just been looking at Kevin for a little bit. So there we go. So you can see this path with this hail band. We've had golf ball size hail reported in the south side of Springfield with that. And that's going to kind of parallel Illinois 54, I should say. That's going to be heading towards Riverton right here, Rochester getting hail now, Buffalo, Dawson, Cornland, Mount Pulaski, Illiopolis, kind of in that area is where this is heading at this point. So going to keep a close eye on that. If you want to, can you text Kevin as well? Just say, hey, if you want to check in or anything.
I'm getting audio from him over here.
You are getting audio.
I'm picking something up.
What is he on? Is he on 10?
He's on 10. I am getting audio, some sort of feedback from his, though, so I know it's not off.
Do you have your IFB?
I have it.
Here, why don't you take the weather IFB? Okay. I think what's happening is because I'm using ClearCom with my hearing aids. Gotcha. I'm not hearing the weather IFB. That's probably what's going on. Kevin, can you hear us? I don't hear Kevin. I hear Kevin now.
There we go.
Okay. Yeah, I hear him. Perfect. So we'll get going with Kevin here in a minute or two. And Kevin, can you do another mic test for me real quick, Kevin? I didn't hear him there, so I think I know what's going on. It's the IFB, so that's fine. Folks, we're just kind of getting things ready. The nice thing about the digital stream is that we can be a little bit more relaxed and take care of things and get set up for when it's go time here. So we like to start these early and get things rolling here. So we'll check in with Kevin here in a minute. Just watching, we do have that tornado warning in Fayette County. The warning is for the storm that's still well south and west of Vandalia here. So we're not going to cut in for the storm while it's still down by Carlisle as it's moved through Greene County, southern Fayette County. Still has a little ways to go. But that storm there, if you look, there's not much impeding it, and it's going to be coming into southern Effingham County, probably paralleling I-70. So got to watch really closely for that. If there's a warning that gets issued a little bit closer or into Effingham County, of course, we'll jump on television for that. But the digital stream is a chance for us to connect with our viewers here. This storm I'm going to watch closely as well here, kind of lining up on Route 4 there from Girard down to the south towards the Litchfield area. And it does have a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag on it. And that's going to be for 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. And the warm front is getting in the region of this here. So if there is a circulation starting to take hold a little bit here, going to be kind of there between Hillsborough and Carlinville and the Litchfield-Raymond area, but it's very broad at this point. So if that warm front is able to help this storm out, that's going to be then a southern Christian County and potentially a Shelby County problem at this point. New severe thunderstorm warning for our storm in Logan County.
2-inch hail is what that one's warned for.
2-inch hail being estimated with that there. So you can see we've got 2-inch hail and 70-mile-per-hour winds with the storm coming out. The new warning is for 2-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds as it lifts quickly to the north and east. And let me drop the warning box for you there. I'm just going to do that storm is the interesting thing about this is if I loop this over the last hour, what happened was this storm here started with this cluster together that's in Macoupin and Montgomery County, but it's what we call a left split. And oftentimes when we see storms in environments like this that race off to the left, those left movers become big hail producers. Your right movers tend to become more tornado potential producers. And that's why that tornado possible tag is out here at this point for northern Montgomery, exiting Macoupin County. That eventually is going to be a Christian County issue. Kevin is down here. He's keeping an eye on this storm south. He's keeping an eye on to the west here as well. And perhaps we can check in with Kevin a little bit more here as we keep an eye on now 3 storms that are moving on through. So with that, Seth, I'm going to let you get Kevin's mic on. And Kevin, why don't you, we can see you on screen here. Why don't you tell us where you are and what you're seeing?
All right. So my location that I'm here in is literally right on the Shelby Christian County line. And I'm looking at the storm that is essentially to my, bear with me here, to my west. And it's the storm there. It's coming out of the Carlinville area. It's really messy in terms of trying to find, a good view of this because there's a lot of, activity, a lot of rain, a lot of convection here. You're looking into that storm that is over near Carlinville, going to be crossing over I-55 here soon. And you can see there in the distance some of the rain shafts and whatnot that are kind of coming down. So I'm trying to navigate here. A plan to kind of, because it looks like these are trying to split up a little bit more. You've got the tornado warning cell down there into Fayette County, but then We're also looking at this one starting to become a little bit more isolated as well. And so I'm going to watch this and kind of come up with a plan of, I'm basically just south of Pana, for those that are familiar. So just south of Pana, right on the Shelby and Christian County line, looking into that storm there. So again, some better moisture is down here. I think your storm that's up there, obviously that just moved through Springfield and whatnot, and is heading there into, Logan County. That's going to be more of a hail producer. And then this one down here, though, there's some pretty decent winds down near the, the Verdon area with that storm that's kind of coming through. So we're watching the winds, going to watch the hail and see if this thing kind of organizes a little bit more structurally. We'll probably have to make a little bit of a move here before too long. But these things are moving so fast, they're going to be tough to keep up with. But we'll do our best. So we'll let you guys handle it from there. And boy, that hail that's probably going through Buffalo Heart area is into Lake Fork. That's going to be some vehicle and roof ending hail potentially. I'll just put it that way.
All right, thanks for that report, Kevin. And he's talking about that storm now. It's crossing into Logan County. You can see the warning on this as Seth gets me up on this. I am not on. There we go. As you see the warning on this here, that's moving northeast. It's taken more of a left turn right up 54. So this is going to be Clinton to the west, between Clinton and Lincoln eventually. Mount Pulaski's coming down the line, Cornland, Lake Fork, and towards places like Kenny and Wapella, Waynesville, things like that, where we're watching in DeWitt County for that warning. 2-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. It's a small little storm. It's not all that big, but there is a lot of hail with it. The latest report is that with that storm, as I double check here, I'm just looking at some other information as well, really fast here. This is something else that's starting to kind of develop. Now, we got to talk about it a little bit here, is the dust potential. And I'm seeing some new information here. Interstate 72 and Route 51, that's going to be in the Decatur area. There's a large dust cloud heading towards Warrensburg, and that's reported by the State Fire Marshal's office. There's also blowing dust on I-55 in McLean County, being reported southwest of Bloomington from this as well. So that is something else to consider. Maybe what we need to do as well, Seth, is we're going to take that Decatur camera, and I'm going to start turning it because we can get a view of this dust cloud that's over or north of Decatur, perhaps, and see what that is by chance. Wow. That is clear as day. That is clear as day. It's for sure here is that blowing dust. Let me get that camera put into 2 here, and we can show folks what we're talking about with that. So I've got that camera up, and I'm going to pull it onto the router. A lot of blowing dust now showing up in the Decatur area. That is Kevin. We want to look at our Decatur camera. There it is. Look at all that blowing dust that's showing up. Seth, if you want to push this post to Facebook and digital platforms, that might be good. You're looking at blowing dust now in Macon County that's coming on through a big dust cloud that's up there. And then that might be something that becomes a problem as well for that. And so we're going to watch really closely here. And I'm just going to let the newsroom know. There's also been blowing dust reported southwest of Bloomington with these storms. And so this dust cloud, it's northwest. It looks like it's going to be more on 121 to me than it is US 51. And it's moving the south wind we've got lifting it north. So Warrensburg Forsyth towards Maroa eventually is where we're going to watch that. So you can see that dust is all in there and something that we're continuing to monitor. So I'll bring that full screen so we could look at that here. And there's no severe weather, but the dust has been a concern for us today because of these strong wind gusts that are out there. And I've got a graphic that kind of illustrates that. This was our concern for blowing dust today. And you see those areas, some of those areas had rain. We've got wind gusts over 30, in some cases over 40 mile an hour that are picking up those farm fields that have dust exposed on them and lifting them off to the northeast. Let's check out our wind right now and just take a peek here at what is happening. It looks like those wind gusts, not all that strong. My suspicion is that perhaps we've got some subsidence in the clouds that's maybe pushing some of that dust out, perhaps. Because you can see on that camera, I'll pull it back up. and then bring me back on camera here. You can see overhead this dark cloud. My thought is that we probably had some wind rush down to the surface from that and blow up this dust cloud that we're looking, and it may continue more to the left there, more to the west perhaps, is what we're peeking at. So we're going to have to watch all of our cameras just to kind of monitor things. And so I'll turn this a little bit more. I tell you what, Seth, I think that's what's happening is you kind of look at that cloud there, and I think we probably had just some dry air that zipped down to the surface, and you're seeing quite a bit of blowing dust there. That's going to be more in the direction of Harristown and moving kind of north and east. So a lot of dust showing up with that particular end. I'm just going to peek around and do a little bit of sky cam tour, Seth, while we've got a chance here.
Sure.
There is a new severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued for Christian County, and that's for hail and wind. So that has been extended. But at this point, nothing more with that. There's the view in Effingham. This camera is facing southwest towards the tornado warning storm that's now south of Vandalia. And they're moving pretty quick here. So by 4 o'clock, we might be on some wall-to-wall coverage for that. Let's pop over to Mattoon and take a peek and see. We're just kind of walking around, taking a view. It's dark looking out there. It doesn't look too significant. The Charleston one on the opposite direction there looks okay. Maybe I'm going to get the Bloomington one up here real quick. And nice day up in Bloomington right now. But there's been some blowing dust southwest of town, and I don't have the ability to turn that camera like I do some of the others. So that is something that we're going to have to keep a close eye on here. So let's go back and do a radar check real fast for you here. And again, we're trying to watch now. I want to update now for Christian County, and I need to keep an eye on the chat as much as I can. We've got a lot of folks that are checking on in here. Thunder rattling in Effingham. We've got some folks saying, yeah, I'm seeing the dust. There's hail in Riverton. A lot of people's talking about that. Some ping pong ball size hail and $50 size hail in Riverton from that storm that came on through. So here's what we got. This storm right here that's coming in out of Montgomery County into southern Sangamon, really it's Pawnee and then Christian County and even into Macon and Shelby County here. Still not organized a lot here. You can make out there is an individual cell there. And if this cell is able to organize more, that tornado threat may come up with that a little bit. I want to check the temperatures in a minute because we want to find out where that warm front is. And if that storm is close to the warm front, then absolutely we may certainly have some chance for this to start spinning a little bit more. It looks like it's been trying, maybe an issue. On the backside, going to be some more hail over the Palmyra area, Millwood, Verdon, and that's going to move also again towards Pawnee. This is probably another splitting updraft, which may take that south of Springfield across I-55 in the Chatham area over towards places like Pawnee and Auburn and into the Christian County area. But this storm right here, keeping an eye on it. And let's just go ahead and throw the velocity on, see if we're looking. There may be, we've been watching, there's a little circulation perhaps showing up there north of Raymond and northeast of Litchfield. And that would be moving into southern Christian County. Not enough to be tornado warned yet at this point to me, but still something that I think we're going to have to watch and keep a close eye on. And so we're keeping an eye on Christian County here. At this point, tornado threat is low. It's not zero. But we'll have to watch things pretty closely. Then we go to our southern storm here, and now that rotation is still in actually Marion County now. It's kind of skirting the Marion and Fayette County line right in this area. Here's 51, and that's south of Vandalia. It's broad, but it's moving pretty quickly. Eventually, that's going to take it towards Kimmondy, Farina, St. Peter. You've got Brownstown here, Altamont here. That's probably going to be a southern Effingham problem. And that may stay just far enough south from the city of Effingham to be an issue. But that'd be places like Mason and Watson. We'd be watching also towards perhaps Elliottstown, Winterrood, Dietrich. Places like that might be where that storm is heading. So that's something that we'll keep an eye on as we move on through. So kind of dealing with that situation now. And then this storm here, I don't have any tornado concerns for the storm in Logan County. It is clearly a hail producer, though. And the warning now is for ping pong ball size hail. And to me, the storm does not look as strong. I don't know if you would agree or disagree with that, Seth. There's not as much pink and white and purple in there, a sign of some really intense hail. But there still is going to be some hail. That's rolling right into Mount Pulaski now. It's going to be here, Warrensburg. There's Latham, Chestnut. You've got coming up to Clinton. Kenny is there. Clinton, kind of up 54. And it may end up being just west of Clinton, more into the Wapello-Waynesville area. So that's kind of what we'll watch and see where that storm heads. A hard left turn, hard turn to the left there. And if it keeps weakening, we'll see, but still something to watch. So
more than anything, that storm in the last 30 minutes has hardly had any lightning on it. Usually lightning is an indicator that we've got strength, but if it's absent, of course, you can tell the complete opposite. So maybe 2 or 3 strikes every 15 minutes or so on there. Not a very big lightning producer compared to the ones south of there, which are putting out lightning strikes just about every single minute there. So big difference between that storm and its fellow storms down off to its south.
Are you seeing the lightning data on your computer?
It's slow. It was very numerous earlier, but I think it's taken a minute to populate in on
taking a little bit to load for sure. So, yeah. So, kind of what we're doing now, it's 3:38. What we may end up doing here before long, it looks like Kevin's on the move, so we'll keep an eye on him. We'll keep an eye on his shot. I think he's probably looking. I'm not sure where he's at. I'm kind of looking to see on the camera if he's in the moonies. I pulled that yesterday where it was hard to make anything out of that. But okay, Kevin says he's going towards Tower Hill on 16. So looks like he's trying to maneuver around and keep ahead of things enough to where he can play both storms. So his feed is in and out on this a little bit, but that just seems how what it's been recently. So. Yeah. See, think soon we're going to watch, and Addison saying it's still the dust is blowing in Decatur, and I've been watching in that Decatur camera a little bit. Let's go ahead and bring up our sky camera real quick on 2. Give me a second here to get it to load, and I'll pop that Decatur camera back on in. We've been talking about that blowing dust. There's been some big problems with that here. That is still the case, it appears. We'll turn it a little bit more. I'll let the...
You can still see it, yeah, just a little above the horizon there on the right side of the screen.
Right.
Definitely a little bit still tossing around.
For sure, for sure. Seth, why don't you talk a little bit for a second here?
Yeah. Get my stuff switched over here real fast. We'll do this. Okay. So just kind of a general overview. If you're just now jumping in here, we do have a number of severe thunderstorms actively in the area, just now passing pretty much all of them east of I-55. We've got one that's been mainly a hail producer up there in Logan County. That one not quite so concerning at this stage in the game, just because it looks like it's losing some of that steam. You kind of got this big mess out here across parts of Christian County that we're continuing to watch. There's definitely some strong wind in there and clearly some heavy rain. But right now, kind of the storm of interest is a tornado warned one just down here in Fayette County. We'll kind of see how that one continues to update as we go from one radar scan to the next, because this one's still in a little bit of a tough ground to get a close view at the ground radar-wise. You've got the Evansville radar, which is the one we are using. You also got the St. Louis radar that they're almost completely equidistant from each other. So you're getting a sign of rotation. That's what these greens and reds kind of are here, but it's so high up in the atmosphere that it's not indicating anything right down there immediately at the surface. And of course, that is in the far extreme southern end of the area. And that is south of I-70 even. So not immediately threatening just yet, but kind of just a feature that we're watching, not just with that storm, but with other storms in the area potentially as we get deeper and deeper into the day. So keeping an eye on all that. Obviously, got some blowing dust out there as well. And what I'll do real quick, then I'll pop back up the radar. Just going to show you the current.
National Weather Service will be coming out with a blowing dust advisory.
There we go. So we'll see where they issue that eventually.
They're saying they think the Virga out ahead of the storms is producing downdrafts, mixing stronger gusts. That's what we were talking about. Right. Basically, elevated clouds are mixing that down and blowing that dust around. So we've been on that for that. So keep going. Sorry.
Exactly. And on top of that, too, just kind of general wind speeds between 15 and 30 miles an hour. And that's non-thunderstorm wind. So the storm can kind of push out some of that dust and put it into some more open territory, then these non-thunderstorm winds can carry that out as well, because gusts will be about 10 miles an hour above those sustained winds as well. So looking at gusts maybe between 30 and 40 miles an hour to continue to toss around some of that dust. Also, just kind of keep an eye on whatever sky cams we can. Obviously, the Decatur one's got a decent view of the dust right now. Hoping to maybe get some sort of view in Effingham, but it almost looks like there's going to be too much rain there for us to get a clear picture, which isn't the worst thing in the world, because that means that there's enough kind of spreading to the north of that storm to where you are on the side that you can't see the best of the core of the storm, the rotation. So that means you're kind of out of the path of it the way it is. So not great that we can't see it, but also good because we are on the correct side of the storm to avoid kind of the worst impacts of it. And you see lots of different warning boxes out here, all kind of a different color to different shapes. They are doing that to just kind of indicate different threats here with these storms. Notice on this one right here.
Interesting structure development on that one.
Yeah. You notice on this one right here kind of has that reddish tint there on the outside of the storm, whereas this one just kind of has that plain yellow outline. That indicates different threats here with these severe thunderstorm warnings. And the one on the left, for example, is warned for tornado possible. The one on the right is just standard severe thunderstorm warning. So the difference in some of there and some of those, that's why those colors look a little different. Same with these ones down here, severe thunderstorm warning, that will had a tornado possible tag, but obviously upgraded to tornado warning at one point. So just kind of pointing some of the differences out there as we get a new scan that's pushed the storm a little farther to the east, still south of I-70, but you can kind of notice maybe a little extra structure to it there on radar. Let's flip over to velocity and see what we can see. And exactly what we saw earlier, you see that rotation just kind of poking in there, but still not a great angle to on the radar to see much that is actively going down at the surface. Looks like that blowing dust advisory is now posted, Jacob.
Right. The other thing I want to mention is I've got a lot of folks sending in some pictures here, and I'm going to try and get one of those up really fast because folks are saying, what is this? What's going on? This is going to be from Kate, who sent this picture. And bear with me for a second as I get things set here. I'm going to pull it into my computer real fast. This picture came from Kate, and a lot of you are seeing something that looks very similar to this here. This right here is Mammatus clouds. And I'm going to bring that full if we can, if you don't mind.
Yes. One sec here. Put yours back where mine was.
I can get a billion more sources.
There we go.
So you're probably seeing right here. This is from Kate. She sent that and was like, what is this? Mammatus clouds. A lot of sinking air aloft. The Mammatus clouds are signs of intense rising motion in storms, and that rising motion, that air cools off so much that it's then got to sink. And Mammatus clouds are the only clouds that actually are formed by sinking air, so that's something to know. All right, here's what we're going to do. We are going to go ahead and cut in, I think, Seth, with that new Fayette County warning that's budding up to Effingham County. I suspect that there will be a tornado warning for Effingham County shortly, so we're going to jump early on that. So if you want to, Seth, I'm going to have you go back to production. And
I think Scott's got our ears already.
Scott's got ears. Okay, perfect. So we're gonna just get ahead of ourselves in this one a little bit, Scott, and go ahead and cut on in with some coverage here for that storm, and then keep an eye on those other storms as well. So Scott, you just let Seth know, because I don't know why I cannot hear Scott. I've got the weather IFB. Scott, can you hear me at all? Is Scott talking to you?
I'm not hearing anything other than.
We're coming to you. Who's got the IFB?
I've got weather. But I've been.
I'll be talking to you.
Yep, sounds good.
I'm on ClearCom. So, and then we'll want to switch to the production switch.
Yep, on it.
For that. So get ready. So, folks, we're going to start our TV coverage here in a minute, and we will get back to you kind of in a moment as we get braced for that. So we're not in an immediate rush, but I think it's probably smart for us to jump on in. And then if you can fix Seth, there we go, perfect. Yeah. Cool.
Almost going.
There it is. Yep. I'm WCIA meteorologist Jacob Dickey with an update for you. We have a new tornado warning that has been issued for Effingham County. We've been watching that storm on our digital platforms in Fayette County with tornado warnings, but now Effingham County included in this, and that's why we're jumping on TV here. So cutting into CI Living and likely cutting in through the 4 o'clock show here. This warning is going to go until 4:30. Right now, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado in the Farina area, moving northeast. It's moving very quickly at 65 miles an hour. And so that's what we're watching. We've got other storms we'll talk about and other things that are happening. So that's something we'll keep an eye on. In the studio here, meteorologist Seth Bohnhoff. We also have Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty in the StormTracker, and he's kind of watching all of those things there. You can see Kevin's shot on the right. It's been in and out for us here as he continues to move. We'll check in with him here in a little bit. But in the meantime, we want to talk about where this storm is here. So this is Fayette County right here. Here's Effingham County. It's also going to include far northern Clay County there, right on 57 from Effingham to the south and east. The storm's still in Fayette County in the Lone Grove, St. Peter, Farina area, but moving to the north and east, this will carry it into southern and central Effingham County. So we'll be watching specifically I-70 and south here. This does not include Beecher City. It does not include Fancher. It does include Effingham. It does include Altamont. I should say it actually south of Altamont included in that. It's going to be Watson and Mason, the US 45 corridor, Effingham County Airport, the regional airport there. You'll carry it all the way south to the Clay County line. It's going to be Winterrede, Eberly, Dietrich, and some of those areas there surrounding that. This warning also does technically include parts of Cumberland County and Jasper County here. This is far southwestern Cumberland County. On its path, it may continue into parts of south and eastern Cumberland County. That does not include Neoga at this point, does not include Toledo or Greenup. Really, it's just for areas northeast of Effingham up towards the Montrose area that's included in that here. And then also down here in Jasper County, including places north and west of the Wheeler area with that. So that's the storm that we have here. Of course, we're continuing to bring you coverage with things on this. That tornado warning goes until 4:30, so we'll be here until then. I do want to quickly talk about other storms that are in the area. This storm here in Christian County, a lot of rain and wind and perhaps some hail coming with that. And that's moving off to the east and northeast. At this point, to me, this is not something that sticks out to me as a tornado potential storm at the moment here. We look at our velocity. You see reflectivity. That is the intensity of the storm. Reflectivity tells us how heavy it's raining or if there's a lot going on there. Velocity shows us the movement, and I don't see a lot of movement that's in a rotational pattern here. But if that warm front continues to lift north and catches the storm, then that becomes an issue where maybe that's something we talk about later down the line. But at this point, Taylorville, it's wind and hail. It's also going to be Assumption, Moweaqua, Pana, areas southwest of Decatur, including Booty, up towards Stonington, Blue Mound, even Macon included in that, and that will eventually carry off to the north and to the east there. Looks like maybe some wind that just rolled through the Taylorville area here, and there you can see those brighter colors showing up. When I pull on the velocity product here, you're going to see some of those bright colors there, some strong winds perhaps mixing in with that rain and perhaps some hail in there. That warning is for 60-mile-per-hour winds and some quarter-size hail. We had an earlier storm we were watching in digital platforms. This storm right here has basically collapsed on itself, and that is from DeWitt County. There was an earlier warning that is no longer in place. That storm produced golf balls and 2-inch hail with it as it moved through the Springfield area. So there's been quite a bit of hail. Chatham, Springfield, Rochester earlier from that, but they're all clear at this point from that. The storm's now to the south and to the east. Meteorologist Seth Bohnhoff is also here in the studio. We're going to toss to him and talk with Seth some more, and then we'll talk to Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty. Seth, talk to more about that tornado-warned storm right in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, just right down there in the southern part of the area. Actually, the source of rotation right near where South Central High School is down that direction. So just kind of give you some placement on where that's at. One thing I want to bring up with the storm, not a lot of storms around central Illinois move as fast as this one does. The supercellular storms definitely have a little more giddy up to them. This one's moving northeast at 65 miles an hour. So you have a little less time than usual to prepare yourself for that. So what we've done, we've drawn out a cone here for the next 25 minutes to kind of list some of those cities and what time the center of rotation is set to move on in. So you got places like Watson 405. That's about within the next 13 minutes here. Then you're also looking at places just south of Effingham, places like Elliotstown, Winter Road, and Tetopolis there within the next 20 minutes or so. So just to give you a little extra heads up, we're used to storms kind of moving maybe 40, 45 miles an hour around here. This particular one moving 65 miles an hour. So we are just picking up a little extra speed here with some of these storms. Little less time there to get prepared. But if you see your town or your location there listed in that box, now is the time to get down to your tornado safe spot, as low in your house as you can go, away from those exterior walls. And you want to definitely get sheltered up for this one. Nothing confirmed yet, but we're seeing that rotation, and that is more than enough to let us know that we need to start getting ready. Jacob, back over to you.
Yeah, thanks so much here. So what we're looking at, a couple of things going on. First off, that sky cam that you see there, it's about to be the Effingham sky cam. We've got that, and you'll see that populate on it. I think that actually is the Effingham sky cam at this point. And so we'll be controlling that. Seth, if you can, I'd like you also to be ready to talk about that blowing dust advisory. So if you can spend some time on Max 1 doing that for me, that would be great. And then the other one in the top right there is Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty in the StormTracker right now. Kevin sent me out yesterday, and he's out there today. We're bringing you that coverage, not only from the studio, but eyes on the storm to know what's going on. So Kevin, I'm going to hear from you a little bit about your thoughts. So where you are, where you're heading, and what you're expecting here over the next 30 minutes.
Well, I'm kind of between both of these storms. I'm actually coming into Shelbyville on the west side of town. I'm on 16 here, coming into Shelbyville. I'm in between these storms here. The one that's kind of over Taylorville, Assumption, again, it kind of is a little messy in terms of the organization there. A lot of heavy rain. I'll tell you, the winds, though, there are some pockets of some really strong winds in here that we're monitoring. Obviously, the tornadic threat is going to be under storm down there coming into Effingham County, but not to discount, we don't want to discount this other storm here that's kind of rolling through Christian County. Going to come into northern Shelby County and Macon County as well. I'm going to have to kind of navigate through town here. I'm just trying to keep ahead of this thing to see if it starts to organize any more in any way. Right now, it is a prolific rainmaker, and I will tell you there's a lot of lightning on the storm too. Quite a few cloud-to-ground lightning strikes that I'm encountering as well. So, again, I'm just coming into town here, so I'm going to navigate through here, and I'll keep you guys updated on what I see as I'm kind of following this storm here. Again, that is, I'm kind of in between the two cells there on the southern edge there. So I'm through Shelbyville. I may push east there towards the Mattoon area, maybe cut northward as that storm kind of moves into Coles, maybe Douglas, Moultrie County. So we'll keep you updated here in the StormTracker.
All right, thanks for that report, Kevin. And so he's kind of in a spot where he can get back to this Christian County storm if he needs to, but also following up on the Effingham County storm. Now, that storm now coming into the southwestern part of the county here. It's going to be Mason. There's Altamont. It'll be southwestern parts here. There's Farina is right here. You've got Mason and Watson right there, and moving off to the north and east. So still at this point, we've got a little time in Effingham. I do want to talk real fast here about what to do in a tornado warning. I know folks are watching. We are streaming on our digital platforms as well. That's a place you can pick up our coverage and monitor things from your safe spot there. You got to head to your safe place in Effingham County in that tornado warning. If you're in a mobile home and you're Effingham to the east, northeast, up I-7, you've got some time. This storm is coming your way. Those are not safe places to be. Driving, not advised to those areas as well. If you know someone down there, send them a text. Say, hey, bring up WCIA's app. They are covering the storm for you. I like to teach the 3 words to kids what to do. Simple words, in, down, up. That means inside, most interior room, down as low as possible, basement, crawl space, low spot in the closet, interior room, down in the bathtub, and cover up. Blankets, pillows, mattress even works. You can have a pillow fort with the kids if you're in that tornado warning. And then grab a bike helmet too on your head. Put that bike helmet on, and it's a great way to stay safe and protect yourself if there's flying debris. Most injuries from that come from tornadoes, come from the debris flying around. So protect your head. That's an important thing we like to teach kids to do. So at this point, cars, mobile homes, highway overpasses, not great places to be, specifically cars and driving and things of that sort, especially with the hail threat. This hail threat, of course, can be accompanied with tornadoes, so that can be a concern. I saw some folks saying they were watching our coverage from the Walmart down in Effingham. There are not great places to be in those big box stores and whatnot. If you're in the center part of that room, you want to find that tornado shelter, go to a bathroom, someplace that's got a sturdier shelter. Those open span rooms, gymnasiums, large span rooms, theaters, things like that. Those roofs can collapse pretty easily, and that could be an issue for that. Places to go: into your room, center part of your house, bathroom into the windows, a shelter, a safe room, or a basement also are great places that you can end up with that as we move on through. So I'm here right now watching this tornado warning storm, and we're going to keep an eye on that here. I do want to also, though, talk about other things that are happening in the viewing area, and I want to spend some time with Seth on that. We've not only had this tornado warning and big hail, but on the northern side of the system, Seth, blowing dust has been a concern. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's actually prompted a blowing dust advisory here from the National Weather Service. You can see those counties highlighted there in the brown, which are kind of away from where the storms are right now. We've kind of got those general non-thunderstorm gusts up that direction. And also, as a few storms start to get up that direction, you get some wind out ahead of it. That's kind of been pushing up the dust there a little bit as well. We've actually got the description there on those on that advisory: visibility between 1/4 and 1 mile there in the blowing dust. So if you are out there in some of that blowing dust, you need to make sure to just kind of slow down and kind of make sure that you're able to make yourself seen there in the dust, because that's always the biggest problem with some of that. And I'm seeing here in the corner, it looks like meteorologist Kevin Lighty in the StormTracker has perhaps some damage. Kevin, can you let us know what you're seeing and where you're at?
I don't hear Kevin. He might be figuring some things out right now.
You might need to, I don't know if you need to talk to him, Jacob. I don't know if he can only hear what's on.
He should. Kevin, we're going to talk to you by chance a little bit about what you're seeing there. Kevin, can you hear us? What you got? Okay, I don't think we have Kevin at this point. He might be repositioning and whatnot, but you can see some of the strong wind gusts have kind of caused some issues with that here. I do want to take a minute and show you the Decatur camera real fast. We were watching this here earlier, and the reason being is because we could see some of that blowing dust that's in place there. So I'm going to spin this around a little bit just to kind of show what's going on. And so I'm going to pan this around a little bit, and you can see some of that rain now coming into Decatur and thunder as we look west, but there was a lot of blowing dust with that earlier. And so that's something that we were continuing to keep an eye on here, kind of scanning around, and you can start to see maybe off in the distance there now as you look back to the north and east, that perhaps is where some of that blowing dust is in place for that particular storm. There's been other reports up by Bloomington of blowing dust. There's been other reports, Cerro Gordo, of blowing dust, things of that sort. But that's what we're continuing to monitor. I also want to take a moment here and show some pictures that I'm getting in from viewers. And when you see this, this is something that's going to be something a lot of you are saying, what is going on here? This was a photo that was shared in, and that one came from, before I get the name wrong, this one came from Casey over in Casey. Casey and Casey sent this in. You can see here, those are Mamadas clouds. There's been a lot of them here. Another view of one, this one came from the Sigel area. You're seeing those spooky clouds. It's a sign of intense upward motion. And then a third picture in there is, that one is from, not quite sure where that is, what came from, but I know we've been getting those. So I wanted to take a moment to do that. So that's what the case is. All right. I still don't know if we have Kevin by chance. I do want to at some point talk to him because we can see that, and we can just triple box that as well and watch his shot. You can see people that are down there. I think he's going to be, he was in the Shelbyville area earlier, wasn't he, Seth? I think that's what he said.
I believe you're right. And I think I can see he's getting audio over here on our end.
I'm on IFB now.
Okay, he's on IFB. So
check,
Kevin,
check.
I hear you now. Looks like he might have gotten out and snapped a few photos or something. Kevin, go ahead and tell us where you are and what you're seeing.
I'm actually in Shelbyville here. I'm going to pull right up here and just kind of show you. Take a look at this tree that's here that has gotten some damage here, as you can see, snapped off. So this is actually in Shelbyville. You can see there it is right there. That's a pretty large tree branch that is snapped here, and it's all actually on top of this boat that we've got, this little boat that's here, some other limbs and whatnot that are down. So this is what I was talking about when I was coming through. I was like, man, there's some pretty good gusts. So it looks like clearly they got some wind here in Shelbyville. So this again is going to be, let me see, let me get my kind of exact location. So I was coming right in on 16. So this is technically kind of up Main Street. So 16th and I can't see a street sign here, but obviously you can tell the damage that is right here in Shelbyville, where they got some of those winds that came through. It's actually going to be looks like 16 and Charles Street. So we're basically Main Street and Charles Street here, basically just west of the downtown area. So that's what we're looking at here, with a little bit of that tree damage that came through from the winds, because there are a lot of tree branches, and I can see some limbs down just around town here. So that's kind of what we're looking at here in Shelbyville as that storm came through. That little arm that didn't look all that intense. There were some pockets of some heavy winds, and so that's kind of what we're seeing here with this. So we'll let you guys get back to coverage there, but some tree damage here, obviously, in Shelbyville.
All right, thanks for your report, Kevin. Of course, he's kind of in the middle, and we know there's strong winds that are not necessarily associated with these storms, and that's what he's dealing with there.
On
got something real quick?
Stadium camera, I think we've got some pretty visible blowing dust. I'm going to try to pull it up on mine. But
yeah, go ahead on Max
1. So I'm switching from the Effingham cam. That's what you're looking at right now. Now we'll look at the Memorial Stadium camera, and you can kind of just see there at the kind of the horizon line. It's maybe hard to tell the contrast a little bit, but there is definitely some dust being tossed up there in kind of the rainy looking background. So obviously a problem that we're watching out with as well ahead of those storms is some of that blowing dust, and in some cases reducing visibility to less than a mile. And of course, 4 o'clock hour on a Friday, I'm sure lots of people are out there. Just make sure if anyone's going to be driving here in the next hour or so, let them know at least about that along with the storms, because they're getting busier here. The visibility is about to drop, whether it be through storms or through some of that blowing dust.
Yeah, you can definitely see that. So we'll keep an eye on that. And we may want to keep that in the triple box as an option in Weathermetrics 3. Can you bring up the graphic one more time for the blowing dust? Is that which one is that? Because I want to show some folks. I think I see here.
Alert. That's number 2.
Okay, so there it is. So that's on Max 1 right there. I just got a report in Windsor, down in Shelby County, of some blowing dust there. So I'm going to make sure the National Weather Service gets that on there. I think this whole thing is blowing a lot of dust up in front of it. So something to be aware of is all of this here. Springfield's got a little wind damage as well. There's 1,600 customers out of power, with CWLP being reported there. We've got an Elkhart. Visibility is reduced in Logan County, so the blowing dust issue is becoming another problem for us here as we move on through. And I haven't had a chance to check the traffic maps and see if there's any slowdowns. It doesn't look like it yet at this point, but those are the types of situations that we have to consider. Let's spend a little time down in Effingham County. To me, I don't see anything immediately concerning in Effingham County here. It's not that we're watching. There still is a tornado warning right now. That storm is south of Watson, basically about 5-7 miles south of Effingham. It looks like it's going to miss Effingham proper. Really, I think if you're from downtown Effingham north and west, you're clear. And in a minute, I'll give that clear west of I-57. But we're still watching the southern part there near Mason and Watson, where that potential tornado could be. I don't see as much rotation at this point. One of the issues that we do have, though, is that we are looking at cameras that are looking at the radar that are 5,000 to 8,000 feet up in the air. And so that is something where we don't have the best view on what's going on the ground. We know this storm is in an environment that is favorable for tornadoes. We know this storm also has been part of a complex of storms that caused tornado damage in the St. Louis metro area. So we're keeping a very close eye on that here. As I look at the radar in Lincoln, I'm going to switch to that one, see if we can get a different angle. We're kind of having some issues with that signal not being as great as we'd like it to be. But even at the mid-levels, there's not as much rotation that's sticking out to me. I think we should still treat it as a dangerous storm, still treat it as a tornado warning. Sirens have been going off in Effingham and Montrose and Dietrich and places like that. But if this trend holds, we'll just have to wait and see what the National Weather Service decides to do with this as it continues to move off to the north and to the east. Do you got something else?
Also of note with that storm that's just outside Decatur, the Decatur airport picked up a 61-mile-an-hour wind gust here in the last few minutes. So that's probably a big reason why we've got a lot of that dust out there as well.
And I don't even think that there is was that related to a storm? That was
at 3:57. So it very well could have been maybe part of a storm, but that could be.
That's probably that downburst winds that are causing this blowing dust.
And of note too, we have down lines that are down in Urbana. We had a gust of 49 miles an hour at Willard here in the last 5 minutes too. So well out ahead of storms. We're getting some strong winds as well.
Yeah, not surprised with everything that's going on. Getting a lot of messages about blowing dust in different places and whatnot. So that is an issue here with what's going on. There's a new severe thunderstorm warning to the south of that Effingham storm. And sometimes what we see is with these storms here is if you've got a couple of storms that are kind of clashing with each other, the southern one can become a little more dominant. Maybe we're seeing this tornado warning storm kind of hand it off to the southern storm at this point. Still going to be some issues with both storms, but we'll just watch how things evolve as this moves in the direction. If that were to continue, I like what that means for Cumberland County. I like what that means for the I-70 corridor. I don't like what that means, though, for Crawford and Jasper County, Newton, Robinson, and places south and east of Casey there. So that is something to watch with those particular storms before long here.
If we're able to look at it again, the stadium camera, there's dust being lofted way up into the air, not just at the ground, but it's getting tossed way up there. So I know I keep repeating it there with the blowing dust, but this kind of starting to become equally concerning to some of the storms, just the low visibility as some people are traveling. And I'm not exactly sure where that dust is at, but if it's anywhere close to kind of some of the interstates here closer to town, that could be very problematic.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big issue for sure. So let's keep an eye on. I mean, that's, you can just see it blowing around there, and this is well ahead of storms, things coming through. Yeah, I'm just watching that, pretty fascinating, because on radar there is pretty much not much here. It is winds ahead, and just from the clouds that are causing this here, with quite a unique setup that is pretty impressive to see. Seth, you keep an eye on that. We've got Adam in the building as well. Adam can help us with that also here. What I want to do is I want to spend a little time in Max 2 and kind of analyze the current conditions here, and guess that's going to give us a feel for where the warm front is and whatnot. You can see where the rain cooled air is. Taylorville's at 64, 76 in Springfield. We're still in the 80s here. It's 88 up in Pontiac, and they're far enough north where it's a nice summer day for them here. Look at our dew point values. Our dew point values are really dry here. What happens in dry air is we can often, because of that, mix a lot of wind that's aloft down to the surface. And so we are certainly seeing that here. From a wind speed perspective, looks like some of our sites showing some stronger winds in place, 25 to 35, and I'm sure there are some that are closer than that. And then I'm going to pull up the gusts here to see if we've got some of those. I know we just had a big gust in Decatur. Decatur's gusting to 56, 51 in Mattoon, Charleston, 43 in Champaign. So a big surge of wind from this dry air that's just yanking down in that jet stream, pushing those winds down to the ground, which is pretty unique. I mean, this is a type of setup that we don't see all that often in Illinois. I would expect to see something like this more in places like Texas, Oklahoma, out in the Great Plains, but that dry air is really causing some unique issues as we see things here. But there is still plenty of moisture off to the south there. So here's that current look at severe thunderstorm warnings. It looks messier to me. I think these storms are dealing with that dry air, they're interacting with it, and that in some ways can make things collapse and bring these huge winds to the area. Folks in BMET saying lights are flickering, lots of wind in Effingham, green up, seeing some wind being reported elsewhere from this. There's no tornado warnings, but certainly a lot of wind and a lot of dust with that. Let's bring that Champaign camera back up here.
I mean, it almost looks like we've got almost a full-on dust storm here. This spans for quite a distance, both to the left and to the right of this camera, and you can even tell kind of getting closer to the stadium now because the look's just a little fuzzier, but that is dust just as far up and down as it can get. That's at least probably a couple miles wide, that little cloud of dust moving through.
Yeah, that's fascinating to see, and the camera itself is getting that, so we're getting some of that dust. We're getting Adam, Mike. Maybe we can send him out the back door to give us a report about something that's going on there. It's Friday, 4 o'clock, 4:11. I'm Jacob Dickey. We've got Seth Bohnhoff, Adam Sherwinski, Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty out in the field here, and we are getting quite a storm that is rolling on in here from this. Again, we've got the tornado watch that goes until 10 o'clock tonight for these counties south of I-72. We've got the severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings right now, and then we've got the blowing dust advisory. I suspect they're going to expand that in some ways because of the way this setup is working here, and that wind is picking up quite a bit here. So we'll see what's going on. The good news, again, talking about Macon, Piatt, Sullivan, Shelby counties up towards Moultrie counties, out of Christian County. I don't have concerns for tornadic potential with those storms here, but boy, are they producing a lot of wind and making things happen. Still keeping an eye now on this Effingham County storm. Still tornado warned. There's not an obvious area that sticks out to me. At this point, I think that storm now is east of Effingham. What we should do is we should get that Effingham camera up as well. I'm going to pull that Effingham camera up on my computer in a second here. But we'll be able to turn that camera more to the east as this storm passes on by, and that will give us a chance to view that storm a little bit more here. So I'll pull that here on mine real fast as that camera is turning, and you get a look at the backside, but I think that storm is kind of dealing with some dry air and having some issues with that, which is good news. That dry air can limit tornado potential, and that may be what's happening, but it doesn't mean we're in the clear. We'll kind of keep panning that around. Just because we've got the camera doesn't mean we get the best view in the ground there, but it gives us at least an idea of what is happening with that. So a little big dust storms coming in. A lot of folks saying tons of dust coming on through this, and that may be the case here. So we may end up having the tornado warning.
Don't know if you saw in the chat, Jacob, but Willard just picked up a 69-mile-an-hour gust.
69-mile-an-hour wind gust at Willard Airport. Wow, that is something else. So this is a dust storm coming on through, isn't it? You got your camera on your computer. What do you got to looking at on your Seth?
Yeah, still kind of the same look.
Pull that Champagne camera up.
Yeah, still kind of the same
on
look.
Max 1.
If we can get, There we go. Got to switch over now.
I'll let you talk about that for a second.
Yeah, kind of the same look that we had earlier. I think the dust is now starting to fully move into the west side of town. Again, I can't really pinpoint where exactly that strongest dust is. Kind of looked at traffic maps, seemed like the interstate was still moving fine, so maybe this is just east of there, but just a long cloud of dust. I mean, this is, again, from the Memorial Stadium camera. You can see the dust kind of making it all the way here into the center part of town, maybe even just outside the studio. Then we're going to pan things off to our south, and you can just see dust as far as the eye can see, just pushing on in, and just talked about that almost 70-mile-an-hour wind gust that is just pummeling some of that dust there into the air.
I was just outside a second ago just to take a look and see what it looked like at the surface. It's almost like a little bit of a haze too as well. Kind of like it looks like it's almost raining, but it's definitely not. There might be a drop or two out there, but it's not. It looks like it's like a heavy shower out there if you're just looking through quick out of your eye. But I will say that some of it's reaching the surface, and I got a little bit in my eye, just a little bit. So just be mindful of that. You can really see it right there on that camera, just as we zoomed in a little bit, the contrast between what looks like just a bunch of cloud cover there. That is dust, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody, that's just literally dust. I mean, that's the crazy part about this, the wild part about it.
Yeah. All right, let's do a quick reset on updates here. Still got severe thunderstorm warnings, obviously, with a 69-mile-an-hour wind gust measured in Champaign. We do not have a severe thunderstorm warning in Champaign County here. That's not a thunderstorm that's producing that. Look at radar in Champaign County. There's a little bit of this light green showing up. What's happening is that dry air, the rain aloft is evaporating as it's falling, and that dry air essentially accelerates down to the surface, and that's what's kicking up all of this dust, what's causing all of this wind. I've seen a few reports of some power lines that are down now in Champaign. We also are getting some other reports that we're going to keep an eye on regarding that, but been some issues with this here as it moves on in. And then you've got the storms coming through. What was the Decatur? Decatur was a 61.
Decatur was, I think, let me double check real fast. I thought it was 59.
59.
Let me double check.
So there has been strong winds with these storms as well. The other thing I want to mention, we were talking about Effingham County and the tornado warning. The tornado warning is canceled for Effingham County. That storm really is not doing very well as it moves off to the northeast. So all clear Effingham County from the tornado warning. And that's also going to mean for Cumberland County, no tornado warning extension coming your way. So that is something to note. Well, we've got the strong wind, though, in the back. I know we've got our producer, Scott, and Scott's and Seth's here right now. We're just going to stick with this blowing dust coming on in and for a little bit more. And we'll get one more look at that. I do want to mention, though, this storm's starting to catch my attention a little bit more down by Winterrede, and that's going to be moving towards Newton and maybe in the direction of Robinson in a much better environment. This storm handed off to this one some of the energy, and that's going to allow it to maybe become a tornado problem into Jasper and Crawford counties. Not yet, but that certainly is something to keep an eye on. And then I just want to take a regional view here because I want to make sure down in southern Illinois, wow, look at that supercell thunderstorm that's moving through down in Alexander County, north of Sikeston, Missouri. That is a large and extremely dangerous tornado, and that's moving in the direction of Paducah. So if you know folks in far southern Illinois, they're having a field day with severe weather. Another tornado warning down by Cape G. That's going to be heading in the general direction of Anna, Jonesboro, and other storms are becoming problematic down there. We're being pretty lucky with the tornado potential here. That Crawford, Jasper County storm would be the one at this point to have a tornado potential. For the rest of us, it's the wind, it's the blowing dust that's becoming an issue with that. You had to talk a little bit more. Talk more about that, what you're seeing on Max 1 there, Seth.
Yeah, tell me what you think, Jacob. But now we're looking to the northeast. I think there is some more dust on the northeast side of town as well. And if we can get that popped up
Max
here
1,
on
please.
Max 1, get our sky cam looked at here. Tell me what you think. That looks like probably a little bit more dust that direction. And if that's the case, I'm noticing traffic may be slowing down on I-74 heading off to the east between Champaign and St. Joe. So maybe starting to see some problems out that way as well. Again, the dust isn't just centered in one place. It's pretty much everywhere. So another problem on a different side of town. Didn't want to just keep looking west there, even off to the northeast, possibly along 74. We've got more dust kicked up there in the distance as well.
Yeah, so it looks like there's a crash reported there on I-74, and that's going to be in that general direction where this dust storm is underway in Champaign County and in many areas of central Illinois where that's being reported, blowing dust causing issues around here. And information's limited, but we know there's a situation kind of unfolding there on I-74 east of Champaign. We haven't had other reports at this point. That doesn't mean they haven't happened, but certainly is something to keep an eye on with all of that blowing dust from the strong wind that is ripping on through the area. I've got some viewers that are sending messages and talking more about that blowing dust and whatnot. Monticello, Sidney, St. Joseph. We're seeing it in Champaign, in the Clinton area, in let me pull up a video here real fast. It'll be no audio, but this is the scene, and I hope our newsroom, our digital team is watching or at least listening into this here. Give me 1 second here. You're going to watch this video. This is what's going on I-74 in the St. Joseph area here. So here's the view of that. That is the scene moments ago. A dust storm in progress. No travel advised on the interstates in Champaign County. You're seeing this video first as we are. Can you put in the chat what's going on with that for the National Weather Service?
Yep.
Just getting that information with that blowing dust and that crash that's over in the St. Joseph area. So really a dangerous scene. This is what causes these big crashes that we see, this blowing dust there. It takes one driver to roll on through and cause issues. And so we hope that it's not a big deal, but wow, that was some incredible video to see there. Did just get a new severe thunderstorm warning in place for the Piatt County area with that storm coming out of Springfield. I'm sorry, Decatur, I should say. Let me get my towns right there. That's going to be for 60-mile-per-hour winds, and I think it's for quarter-size hail. I'll pop on the details for you here real fast. That's going to be moving towards Monticello and moving towards Cisco, Cerro Gordo, and Beamet. And, they're warning for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. It's safe to say that outside of these severe thunderstorm warnings, at this point, we are legitimately covering the dust storms, the blowing winds, the strong winds, and the issues that are unfolding here as kind of breaking news is unfolding with us with this storm that's rolling on through. So lots of reports coming in. Shirley in McLean County, a big dust storm up there. A high wind warning is now coming for Champaign County. This is for non-severe thunderstorm winds, high wind warning. So we'll have a graphic ready for that when that comes our way here. But a high wind warning is being issued for Champaign County, and high wind warning, dust storm warning, whatever you want to call it here, a situation unfolding with this dust blowing on through. So that is something. I saw Adam send a message to NWS. Thanks, Adam, for doing that. We were working in partnership with them. Dust storm underway now in East Central Illinois. We are watching severe weather. We are watching the blowing dust. We are watching the hail threat, which has come down a lot for us at this point. The wind threat kind of taking over and becoming much more of an issue. There has been hail earlier. Springfield area had golf balls and hail larger than that. But man, are we seeing some big issues with this dust that is blowing? And now I'm getting Piper City blowing dust up in Piper City. So that's the National Weather Service in Chicago. Adam, if you want to send them a message, a big dust plume forming up there. it's sunny and dry up north there with this blowing dust. So pretty unique that we're seeing things unfold in this situation with what's happening. Also getting some reports of some more tree damage in the Shelbyville area. Maroa, it's 0 visibility. Seth, do you want to take over for a second here?
Yeah, I've just still got the dust up here on mine to things, but we can continue to show that. Also did just get something reported in from the newsroom. Monticello Road also has near 0 visibility. And all I'm going to do here is just kind of pan around and just take you just kind of around the city of Champaign here. We've got dust. This is now, I'm turning the camera to the exact to due west here from Memorial Stadium. You can see just a long cloud of dust directly to the west of town, maybe a storm coming in there on the southern end. We're going to pan things up here to the north and just everywhere. I've seen 2 or 3 people now in messages or comments in places just describe this as a bowl of dust. That's exactly what it is. No matter where you look, there is dust to your west. There is dust to your north. There is dust to your east. It is just pretty much everywhere right now. And the big concern with that is any kind of roads where it's not easy to stop on. Obviously, if it's a little dusty here in Champaign, and when you're driving on those roads in town anyway, you're going at a reasonable speed. But the interstates, that's kind of the concern here with some of that, as that dust is moving on into some of those. And it's just not a great situation. As you said, you know, there is some severe weather out there, but more than anything, this dust is causing some problems no matter where you look right now. And it's not just limited here to Champaign either, but we are getting some pretty crazy views. And like you said, Jacob, you've seen this before in Texas and Oklahoma, where it's just dry out there. They don't get a lot of rain. It's dusty. The wind blows stuff up all the time. We do not get this in central Illinois very often, but it certainly seems like we are getting every bit the kind of dust storm that they get down in that part of the country.
I think I'm seeing it more here in central Illinois than I have in Missouri and Oklahoma.
Last 2 years, it feels like there's just been lots of that blowing dust. But this is obviously a situation we need to really pay attention to. It's a little harder to track, obviously. We can't just look at blowing dust on our radar or something like that. That's why it's nice to have any sort of reports or these sky cams that are just kind of taking us around and allowing us to view some of that. So kind of the biggest concern right now in some of those strong winds as well. And got any sort of reports on your end of things, Jacob?
Yeah, just getting more photos and videos and things of that. And I know there are so many of these reports coming in. This is in the St. Joseph area of that dust that's blowing on through. You know, we had a 70-mile-per-hour wind gust here in Champaign, 69, the official measurement. Hey, take Kevin real quick. Take Kevin on TV real fast. Pop him in. Look at the power lines that's down there on his shot as well. So the storm's also causing issues with power poles being broken. Kevin, can you hear us? Where are you at?
Yeah, so again, I'm still traveling, trying to get back ahead of this whole thing. I'm back basically between Windsor and Gaze, and still on 16 there. And so every once in a while, you'll just find this patch of, tree branches down, limbs down. And in that case, you saw the power pole there that was snapped. So I was right between Windsor and Gaze. It was just like one pole there, but it is kind of random. I've been in this rain for a long time because I was on the southern end of this. Down here, I've not seen as much of the dust down here because we've kind of been socked in the rain this whole time. But I can see why, there might be. And again, there's some other trees that were over here. I can't tell. That's probably some older stuff. But I could definitely see how these winds are kicking up this dust because it didn't look like it was that bad on radar. But as I was driving, I was like, wow, the winds are really kicking up pretty good here, and we're definitely seeing that. So some of that wind really getting translated down to the surface here in this drier air mass, and really kicking up that dust in some areas. So again, I'm going to be coming into Mattoon. I've been told reports there's some power lines down in Mattoon as well, some arcing power lines in the Mattoon area. We're going to try to hit 57 and head back north here, but again, it's kind of random. Every once in a while, I'll see a bunch of tree limbs down and a power line or two. So we'll keep you updated here on the StormTracker as we head east into the, eventually coming into the Gaze area here and Mattoon here the next few minutes. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks very much for that report, Kevin. Again, he's out there watching things, and we've got the whole team in right now, actually, monitoring these storms coming on through. Right now, you would normally be watching the first news at 4 newscast, but we're just keeping the extended weather coverage going with this dust storm, the severe weather that's happening. The good news is that the severe weather threat is going down for a lot of us at this point. We're not out of the woods, but we're trading that from severe weather to blowing dust, high wind warnings, and things of that. And so that's what we're dealing with there. The one severe thunderstorm warning we have is for this storm now coming south of Cisco towards Cerro Gordo, lifting to the north and east. It's heading towards Monticello. Monticello, you've already had blowing dust and strong winds, so not an issue there. Really, this whole area has had, blowing winds. So, I had greens and reds and yellows, and even where there's no greens, red, and yellows, there's been just strong wind. That's what's happening here across the region. Further to the south, look at that. Tornado warning just issued now for Jasper County. This storm here is going to be a big problem, folks, for Jasper and Crawford County. I know we've got folks that we have on our digital platforms that follow us down there. This is southeast of Effingham. Does not include Effingham County, but a new tornado warning just issued. Wow, go ahead and bring me up if you can here. I want to point out some things. This is the strongest tornado storm I've seen yet in our area today, before the St. Louis storm that produced a tornado in the north side of downtown there. This is a hook echo. Your potential tornado is going to be in the Ingraham area, lifting north and east, likely to cross between Newton and West Liberty, eventually takes it towards St. Marie, Oblong, the Willow Hill area, and Robinson. And this is a very similar path and location to the tornado that went through Robinson back in 2021. Big, strong tornado just hits Robinson, the south and east side of town. So those same areas are going to be under the gun with this tornado-warned storm that is moving in that direction. We will watch it closely. It is technically not our television market, but I know we've got folks and friends that are watching down in Crawford and Jasper County. I want to mention that this storm here is on the warm front. It is primed to cause some big problems. And so a heads up for Jasper and Crawford counties, we may start seeing a more serious situation unfold before long. Not a confirmed tornado yet, but it is well on its way. Let me show you the velocity. And you can see that this is a surge of wind coming around here to allow this to start to rotate in this area here. Here's Effingham County right here. So we're talking southeast of Winterrude, south of Dietrich. It's going to be south of Cumberland County. Not an issue for there, or probably not even Clark County. But that certainly is catching my attention as we move on through. Still getting lots of reports of that dust, lots of reports of things here coming on through as this significant dust storm is rolling on in. Let me get another video up here for you real fast. This is from Curtis and Mattis. It'll take me a second to pop that in. And maybe I can get that here.
While you're at that, Jacob,
go for it.
I have an update on our alerts graphic. If we can pop up Max 1 here, they did add a high wind warning here to the area as well. That warning is advising for gusts up to 70 miles an hour. So Champaign, Vermilion, Douglas, and Edgar counties, those are the places there where that high wind warning has been issued. And of course, that kind of couples with the blowing dust advisory as well. So pockets of strong winds out here ahead of storms or even within some storms, kicking up a lot of that dust. So just kind of honing in on the Champaign, Vermilion, Douglas, and Edgar County areas. That's where the most problems have been. And they have officially kind of sent that warning up a notch there. So watching for some of that and some of the continuing blowing dust with that as well.
And keep in mind, too, that advisory, or high wind warning, is not accompanied with severe thunderstorm warnings. That's separate. That's a separate kind of warning slate. So that means that we could see these strong wind gusts outside of these thunderstorms. And that's part of the reason why we've seen a lot of that dust get kicked up too across Central Illinois. And an extension too, also on that blowing dust advisory down towards Christian, Shelby, Moultrie, and Coles County too. So quite the extension on this as well. We were just seeing that in the northern half of our viewing area, and the southern half was dealing with the severe weather. Now we've seen it kind of extend a little bit more here. So keep that in mind, folks, that we're not only just watching for the severe thunderstorms and the tornado potential with some of these storms, but we're also watching this blowing dust because, again, this is not a region that normally gets blowing dust, but we've had those incidences the last couple of years, so we got to keep on our toes.
That came in at 4:27. The high wind warning should activate the wireless emergency alerts, if I remember correctly, but I did not get that notice on my phone.
Did not either, nope.
And so
the app posted it, but yeah, no emergency alert.
The app posted, but if anyone's watching in our digital streams, maybe you got a wireless emergency alert. Let us know if your phone went off. I don't think it did. It should. And Natasha's saying she got a warning in Champaign for, okay, maybe we're just not getting that, but I would think one of our 3 phones might have gone off for that. If you don't have wireless emergency alerts turned on, then maybe you wouldn't get that. I know mine are on, so I'm surprised that I didn't get that. So a lot of people saying no alert for that. No alert. Somebody else saying they just got it. So it could be it's just taking a minute to work its way through the system. with that. So we'll see if that in fact is the case. Something to keep an eye on. Sometimes, it takes a minute or two for those warnings to clear on through, but a lot of folks saying they've gotten no alert from that. Some folks are saying that they have, and so we'll wait and see what happens to that. We're still scanning here. This is really impressive. Starting to get some raindrops populating down. And the folks that are saying got the high wind warning, I'm going to make sure that's the box that pops up with the loud alert sound, that scary beeping sound, not through our app, is what I want to make sure happened. The weather radio, also somebody is saying, did not go off. So perhaps let's look into that. I would think that would be something that would happen. So maybe, Adam, you can kind of work with the National Weather Service and watch to see if that's the case where the app people are getting it as opposed to the wireless emergency alerts. Looks like one of the NWS folks is responding. So,
okay.
And most folks saying they've gotten it on their WCIA app, which is great. You got to have multiple layers of protection here. So that's something where we're kind of watching. Let's jump back down to this storm. Wow. Whew. That's an impressive tornado warning storm there that is down in Jasper County and moving towards Crawford County. And that's going to be a big problem, I think, before long here. A very favorable terrain for tornado producing storms now, which thankfully is just south of our area. We can keep an eye on it, but that certainly is something that we'll have to watch. Most folks are saying that they've not gotten a wireless emergency alert. So I'm just a little wanting to make sure that the things are going out the right way with what's happening. Still severe thunderstorm warning, but at this point it's that high wind warning that's taking charge here. I've been seeing power line reports come down as well. I don't know if you guys have. That's the view in Effingham there. I'm going to kind of scan around a little bit. Let's pop down and just do a little sky cam tour while we can here. There's Charleston. Looks like there's been a little rain there. Things looking fine down there. Let's go to Danville and just check it out. Danville's in the high wind warning. Our WCIA 3 weather app gave the high wind warning. We're asking about the wireless emergency alerts. That's the government program, just to clarify with people where we've gotten that. Danville's looking good. There's Decatur. Let's pop up to Gibson City. I'm just getting text messages from family and friends are saying dust, dust, dust is what's coming out with that. So we'll see Gibson City here in a second. Not seeing much there. I think really Champaign has been one of the big spots with that dust. Would you agree with that, Seth?
Yeah, from what I've seen. Do you have anything else, Adam?
Pretty much Champaign County. We got some video from Sellers. We've got some video from you mentioned there's Broadwell, a couple of spots here towards I-55. So there's been pockets here and there, but I would say in terms of urbanized areas or more city areas, Champaign has probably got the worst of it in terms of the dusty conditions.
Seth, you want to take over for a second?
Yeah, I would not bring up my graphics just yet here. I'm working on some power outage numbers, so just keep it on the Skycam here for the moment. But while I'm working on this graphic, I can actually just kind of read some places for you here. We do have quite a few outages, despite maybe not a ton of severe storms, or at least widespread severe storms. Just want to read some places that have been hit the hardest. Macoupin County, over 4,000 outages that direction. Sangamon County has over 2,000 at the moment. Christian County at about 1,200 outages, Macon close to 600. So those are some of the top spots. Fayette is a little under 900. Effingham at about 650 as well. So lots of outages. Some of that has to do with some of the strong storms pushing through. Some other parts of it has to do, obviously, with some of these strong non-thunderstorm winds as well. So just kind of a combination of that. And again, I'm kind of working on that map. So we'll kind of get that to you here as soon as we can. But obviously lots more happening right now, aside from just severe storms. Although, like we've been kind of looking at, that storm down in Jasper County, definitely one of the stronger ones that we have. But plenty of other problems that we are kind of paying attention to and looking out for as well. Just a much better environment down there around 70. And you can just even tell looking at the radar picture, just the difference in the quality of storms when you just look north of 70 and you look south of 70. There's just powerful supercells that are, if they're not producing tornadoes, they sure look like they are ready to there any moment. So just kind of different levels of the environment. We are mostly lucking out so far with just kind of getting, if anything, some hail producers on top of all that. But yes, much different quality in storms up here in the immediate area than you just look to the south. You see a lot of those individual storms. The pink boxes indicate a confirmed tornado. Red just indicates a storm capable of producing a tornado.
I'm curious to see what happened in Cairo or on the Cairo Alexandria.
Yeah. We'll spend a minute check that out here. We real quick want to just clarify some information about the wireless emergency alerts. So the National Weather Service, if you're familiar with the wireless emergency alerts, you get them for tornado warnings in your cell phone. That box pops up and it makes a noise. So high wind warnings do not activate that. I wasn't sure what the case was. Dust storm warnings do, because we've had that in the past. So that's the reasoning that the wireless emergency alerts did not go out for that. But the weather app, our weather app, sent the notice out, and you got that through there for Champaign, Douglas, Edgar, and Vermilion County. Those are the 4 counties. Is that correct, Seth?
Yes. Yep.
So that's what that is that we were kind of clarifying with things there for that. Frankly, I think that it needs to be a wireless emergency alert because dust storms affect travel and people on the roads need that information. So that's a conversation that we'll have to have with our partners about what's happening and why this was made and et cetera, et cetera. But from an impact, dust storms affect travel the most. There are folks that have commented on our digital platforms and they said, dust is blowing through my AC vents. It's coming through the cracks in my door. It is really impressive to see these reports. And that's something that we're continuing to see those reports come on in. Did get a viewer report that there was a semi overturned in the St. Joseph area, right where that dust storm that we showed you earlier was. And so perhaps we'll take another peek at that here in just a second. But just kind of checking some other reports here. Looks like up by Mansfield, more blowing dust. I'm going to try and get some of these videos pulled in here by chance because they are fascinating to see. Did get a severe thunderstorm warning just issued. That is for...
Looks like all of Champaign.
Yeah, Champaign and Vermilion County. We're just basically, on a day like today, it's hard to message the impacts because there's so many things happening. You've got the dust, you've got the wind, you've got the hail, which that threat probably over at this point, the wind taking charge here. But all these different things that are going on is what we're... You can see the blowing dust in Mansfield that I just got here. Pretty impressive to see that. I think this is the dustiest day we've had in a long time around here.
I think so. And not just from like the intensity of this, but the scale of it. This is everywhere.
We just got a really good video sent into our emails from D-Land that we might want to take a look at real quick, but it looks dust bully. Yeah,
I'll let maybe the newsroom take care of trying to get the emails and convert it and whatnot in the back there. This is for, it looked like at one point Madison Curtis. And so that's something that is worth keeping an eye on here. All right, real quick, go ahead and bring me back on camera. I want to show you something that happens, the way something works here. And what it is right now, that severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued. Let's see if we can get this to work or whatnot. Can you hear that in the microphone at all?
I can't hear anything.
Why is it? Here we go.
Sturdy building and stay away from windows. Now, this storm could severely damage older homes with winds strong enough to collapse walls. Repeating, you are in the path of an extremely severe thunderstorm. Act immediately. Seek best available shelter now. This message...
So that is WeatherCall. We got that WeatherCall here because we're at the TV station. Our address is fixed here. And so anyone with WeatherCall in Vermilion and Champaign County would have gotten that notice. And so that is something that I just wanted to highlight. A great service. You get that for severe thunderstorm warnings. You get it for tornado warnings. We send you a phone call for that. Some other things we can say here, the severe weather threat really winding down. Look at Christian, Logan, Sangamon counties over towards Cass, Morgan, Menard County. Canceled. DeWitt County, no tornado watch anymore. It's pretty much I-57 corridor and I-70 corridor here. We haven't dropped it yet for Macoupin, Montgomery counties. We'll wait and see if that happens. We have one tornado warning in Jasper County and another in Crawford County there that we'll continue to monitor. For a program perspective, what I think we may do is at 5 o'clock, perhaps in the back, Scott. We might try and get the newscast at least partially in on that. So we're about 19 minutes exactly out from that. And so that may be something where we kind of transition into the 5 with updates, and we'll still have extended weather coverage, but I know the newsroom has been working on some information. And so that is something to kind of plan for in the back. So our news team, our production team are helping us out with that as we continue to monitor these things. So that is what we're dealing with there. Seth is working on a graphic now from D-Land, and he's going to get that for a second of all that blowing dust. It looks like he's editing it in a second here. There's that new tornado warning that just popped up for Crawford County. It looks like that storm is strengthening a little bit more and making a more of a right turn, which takes it south of Robinson. That's still Robinson in the tornado warning, but perhaps it's going more towards areas south of there, which, seeing a storm like this come in that direction and knowing what Robinson's been through a few years ago certainly is something that makes me just have a little extra feel for them down there and things of that. What I'd like to do as well is, if we can, before you get that dust video, that is impressive video that Seth's going to have in a second here, I'd like to see if we can't talk to Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty a little bit and get a perspective from him. He's in the Mattoon area now, kind of coming in behind all of this wind and things of that. So if we're ready then, Kevin, let's toss to you and let us know what you're seeing, Kevin. Control, if we can have Kevin on. Is Kevin's audio not working? Looks like Kevin. Maybe your audio is off for some reason. We'll check back in with Kevin here in a second. He'll get that situated. There's batteries in the middle console that I stuck there in a box for you, Kevin, if you can hear us. Seth, you've got that video?
Yeah.
Let's pull up Seth, and Seth, take it away. Talk about where that was and what you're seeing.
Yeah, this is over there in D-Land, and you can just kind of tell maybe there's a little rain in that, but those are just intense wind gusts, and that is a lot of dust. Looks like it was probably just taken out the window of a house, and could barely even see some of the barns and the sheds just probably mere feet away from wherever this video was taken. So this is maybe not the case everywhere, but in some of the most extreme conditions, that is the caliber of dust that you are seeing. Just zero visibility, absolutely none at all. You can only see a few feet in front of you, and it's hard to measure those wind gusts, but it just looks intense. The dust almost coming in completely sideways there. And maybe the case for some others out here, but this is probably the best video that we've gotten up to this point, just to display how difficult it is to navigate through some of that dust. There is just nothing you can do if you're kind of just out there in that. You can't see more than just a few feet in front of you there.
Yeah, it's, that's crazy. That's what we see, that blowing dust there. So, okay. Sounds like Kevin is available now. Perhaps, Kevin, was it a battery issue that maybe caused something for you, Kevin? Switch him out? Maybe I forgot to switch the battery for you.
I think you forgot to switch the batteries from yesterday. It's all good. We've got them all taken care of now. But, so I just passed through Mattoon here. I am getting ready to hop back on 57 North. When I came through Mattoon, several tree branches again down in the area. Again, multiple reports that they actually had some power lines down that were arcing in the area, but definitely those same winds kind of came through, and that's when it was storming pretty good. Again, I've not encountered any of the dust here. I've been in rain pretty much kind of this entire time, so we're just hopping on 57 North now. We're gonna head back northward and encounter some of those storms there, but I think all of these little towns that have experienced these kind of storms coming through, or even if it wasn't storming, you got those strong winds here. So you can see some clearing as I'm kind of turning back around, because now you're looking kind of to the north and west there. Notice how it is clear, but then we look to the north and it's much darker, because this is looking up towards Champaign County, and that is the direction that we are going. So again, we'll see what we encounter here on 57 as we go back northward, but definitely saw a lot of the tree limbs down there through Mattoon, and my whole way there, basically from Shelbyville and through the Gaze, Windsor area, and now we're heading back north. So we'll keep you updated if we see anything up this way, and that'll be the report here from the StormTracker on I-57 northbound now. Out of the rain for the time being, but we're about to go back through it here in the next few minutes or so. We'll send it back to you.
All right, thanks for that report, Kevin. We're going to be filling until 4:57:41. So that's our time out here before we start the 5 o'clock newscast. That's the view in Champaign right now. And you can see still that blowing dust is out there, and that's looking north. So northern Champaign County getting that. Have we done a 360 spin yet with that camera?
I don't know if we've done it with the north studio camera here. Let's go ahead and do it right now. I'll kind of pan us to the east here looking first, but raining here a little bit in town. You can even hear it on the roof of the studio. But
yeah,
still
catching that.
Still some indications of the dust there in the distance too, and a little bit of wind too is what we can kind of hear. So,
and I did just get another report between Rankin and Hoopston of dust on Route 9. So that's a little further down the line with that. So we get a new severe thunderstorm warning for Clark and Coles County. It looks like we may have. We'll cover that here in a second. Then I also have another photo of some damage, multiple trees down in the Decatur area from that. So are you controlling that camera? Is it?
Yeah, I'm just still looking around. Looks like we still got dust to the northwest of town. That's probably the best view I've got so far, just on the northwest side of town.
Really a fascinating setup to see this here. So that dust moved kind of east and northeast, and I don't know how much farther north it makes it. I did get a dust report in Piper City, but it seemed more localized compared to the widespread dust that we've had here in Champaign County, Vermilion counties, and even towards Farmers City. I just got a report the dust storm raging on in Farmers City and Parnell, places like that. So pretty fascinating to see. Let's talk about that new warning that's been issued, and you can see here, looks like they just kind of did a broad for Vermilion, Edgar County, and it does include a little bit of Coles and Clark County in that for that severe thunderstorm warning. Still have that tornado warning storm down in the Robinson area. Man, that's coming close to Robinson there with that storm that's south of Oblong and southeast of Willow Hill. No tornado reported with it yet, and maybe with the cameras, with the rotation that we have, maybe not as strong, but boy, that environment is favorable down there for tornadoes. And then I do want to go down to southern Illinois and check in down there as well with the storms. This storm here just blew through Cairo, and I have not been keeping an eye on things. Adam, have you heard much about Cairo at all?
Not yet. No, I haven't looked.
Not yet from down there.
I do have a report from my aunt if you want to hear it.
Sure.
They're in the Effingham area right now, headed home. They live in Newton, which was under that tornado warning a little bit ago for that cell closer towards Robinson. She said that out towards Christian County, the edge of Christian County, that they had a brownout as they were driving. Said doesn't want to go through that ever again. So I will say that not even down towards Christian County, they've seen some really dusty conditions too. So it's been pretty widespread.
It really has been here. I've got a picture from down in southern Illinois to show you.
Just saw the same one. Yep, that's a pretty good look at a obvious tornado down that way.
Yeah, so this here is from Ballard County, Missouri, which is that storm that's moving on through it. I'll pull that up real quick. So this now is past Cairo. It's moving towards Paducah, Metropolis, down in far south Illinois. And I know we're not in that area, but to give you an idea of the kind of situation that storm is and that tornado threat, that's a huge tornado right there. That's been spotted there down in the southern Illinois. So pretty impressive to see that storm in southern Illinois taking advantage of things for that there. We have another.
We have a dust storm warning now up in Livingston and Iroquois County.
Probably Ford as well.
Let me check real quick, but that would
Ford County
would send off the alert, correct?
Yes, that does send the alert. So Livingston, Ford, Iroquois, and Benton County, Indiana have a dust storm warning. Dust storm warning is now in effect for those areas. That has activated the wireless emergency alert. A high wind warning does not. A dust storm warning does. And so the National Weather Service of Chicago has gone with the case. So folks that might be watching for Gibson City, Paxton, Watseka, Gilman, up towards Fairbury, Pontiac, places like that, and now have that dust storm warning that has been issued for those areas. On top of that, we have in the St. Joseph area, emergency management reports several semis blown over on I-74 between St. Joseph and Ogden from this strong wind that came on through. And then as well, we have the winds that are coming through Vermilion and Edgar County. By chance in the back, could you guys give me a timer just so I know that countdown? I can see that number when we get to the point to wrap up here. What we're going to do here in about 5-7 minutes is we're going to dump out of our continuous coverage. We're going to transition more into the newscast style. Now, we'll leave the digital stream up and watch things like that, but that certainly is something that will keep going. We're winding things down. We said the highest impact will be 4, 5, and 6. Seems like it's 4 and 5, and maybe by 6 o'clock, these storms here are exiting, but still seeing a little bit more development try here north of Effingham. I don't know if that will do much, but we'll keep an eye on that and keep a close eye. We're all clear for Springfield, Lincoln, and Bloomington from the severe threat, but the blowing dust and the strong wind may become an issue for us moving forth as we've been watching this here for about the last hour. And we do have that one tornado warning storm down in the Robinson area. That might be Robinson South, pretty impressive storm, but not had any reports of tornadoes with that. There's been a large tornado in southern Illinois that's been happening there. Current winds, 35 to 45 miles an hour. I'm curious to see what those wind gusts are. It looks like in some of those local stations and whatnot, we may get some more reports that come on in before long, but been quite an active day here across central Illinois. Seth, we got about 6 minutes. If you have any last-minute things here before we roll into the newscast, and then Adam, if you're seeing anything as well, we'll kind of check in, and we'll do a quick check-in with Kevin as well here in a second. So, Seth, I'll let you start. Got anything else you want to add here?
Yeah, just more so than anything, if we can pull up the Max 1 graphics here too. Even as the severe threat kind of winds down, you just noticed that graphic Jacob showed with the strong wind gusts across the area. Stuff like this is going to keep being a problem with the blowing dust. We now have 3 different type of alerts. I just want to kind of break down each one of those and describe the differences. Dust storm warning, that's in effect for Livingston, Ford, Iroquois, and Benton counties. Essentially what that does is it just kind of indicates to you that there is low to zero visibility happening there with a cloud of dust starting to push into those locations. Blowing dust advisory is the same thing, just kind of a tier lower. You might have some isolated pockets there of that dust kind of being kicked and tossed around. And then high wind warning, which is different but still similar. That just indicates strong wind gusts, non-thunderstorm wind gusts. Could get up to 70 miles an hour and, in effect, also kick around some of that dust. So even if the warnings start to drop away, it's a Friday night, it's graduation season, just be careful if you have to go out there and travel. And I do believe that dust storm warning maybe just got extended, according to this graphic, into parts of McLean, DeWitt, and Piatt County. So if you have somewhere to be, just kind of wait some stuff out there. And it looks like we are now getting the emergency alerts there for the dust storm warning even here in Champaign. So we actually did just now get those on our phone. So these warnings kind of populating in, and maybe that high wind warning is covering it. So I might need to edit this around. But more than anything, people have lots of places to be here on a Friday night in graduation season. Take it easy. Be careful. Let the dust pass through. You do not want to get yourself caught in the middle of a dust storm.
Yeah, and I want to say this real quick, too. When it comes to the National Weather Service, what do they issue and how do they deal with this? The messaging and the alerts don't matter as much. We've been talking about the impacts, and the messaging has been consistent on that with the dust potential. So they've gone with that dust storm warning. I do want to share some big things that are developing right now. There are some big problems in I-74 west of Champaign, specifically between Farmer City and Bloomington. I don't have much specific information on that, but I know that there have been several incidents reported in that direction. We also are hearing of some issues in the Ogden area and also in the Farmer City Mansfield area from that. And so we will see if I get some new info on that here just by double checking something really quick. And with that, Adam, do you have anything to add real quick?
Nothing. I'm just looking at some of the reports here from chat. Our friends over at WMBD over in Hayworth, they also cover Hayworth there. Some of the video they have from some of the dust there, clearly no signs of a severe thunderstorm, and it's just a wall of dust going through town there. Otherwise, though, just kind of looking through reports, getting our emails, too. We've got a lot going on just in terms of the dust. I mean, it's pretty widespread. I mean, I'm getting reports from, Footsland to down in Christian County, here in Champaign County, up to Fort.
There's dust all over. They're really
dust all over.
Real quick, some new information real quick. I'm going to come in before we've got time here. I've got at least 4 incidents reported from Leroy to Farmer City, interstate issues with that. So I would advise at this point, if you're heading west towards Bloomington, I would avoid I-74 and I would avoid moving in that direction with this dust storm warning that's in place here. And that may be somewhere where we send Kevin. Also, I-55 and in the McLean area on US 136 is closed between McLean and Hayworth, according to IDOT, where the dust is really taken off in that direction. And then we've got numerous incidents with reported between Ogden and Fithian, according to IDOT, on I-74 east of Champaign, all because of this blowing dust in case. Hey, Kevin, we've got about 2 minutes real quick. Do you want to give us a quick update in the StormTracker? And I have a feeling we'll be hearing from you in some of those harder affected areas. Kevin, what you got?
Yeah, all right. So still traveling north here. I'm up to the Arcola exit on 57 North. Seeing in front of me, again, the rain and storms there, and probably mixed in is some dust as well. And I don't know if you can or not. And again, I've heard you talking about some videos. Obviously, I can't see what you guys have. But if you're able to pull up my X account there, I just tweeted out a video from Hayworth, and maybe you guys have already shown that, but I've got one from, and then also I'm going to have one from the Mahomet area as well, right on the county line of Mahomet of the dust storm there. So if you want to pull either one of those up
yeah, we got that, Kevin.
The one there's going to be Hayworth.
Pull next to it.
So you can see the dust there. If you can punch that up there,
it's
the
up
dust
now.
there from Hayworth, as you can see. Just look at that. Isn't that wild? I mean, look at that dust there kicking up there. You know, somebody's backyard, and you can see that there showing up there. And then again, I also just posted one for Mahomet. This would have been looking along I-74. So if you just go ahead and refresh there, the one you can see the dust going across the interstate, and then cars driving in to that dust there. As you can see there, pretty wild stuff with these dust storms here, guys. So again, I'm coming in to Douglas County,
30 seconds, Kevin.
Champaign
Wrap
County
up,
line,
please.
and we'll have more reports throughout the 5 o'clock newscast.
All right, so there's some video that you're seeing here. We're going to take a break here, but have more news. Jennifer Roscoe is in the studio. We'll have more updates on this blowing dust, the issues on interstates, road closures, and more from this right here. This has been severe weather coverage. It will continue with WCIA 3 News at 5 o'clock with much, much more. We also will continue our digital platform and keep you covered here through the night. We'll be back in just a bit.
66 Solar.
Well, as expected, today turned into a weather day here across central Illinois. Our severe weather threat is coming down, but we have been seeing blowing dust, high winds, and plenty of wind damage out there from this. This is the map that's showing those alerts now. We've got dust storm warnings for Livingston, McLean, DeWitt, Hyatt, Champaign, Ford, Iroquois, and Vermilion counties from this blowing dust coming on through. And as we look here at our camera in Champaign, we've been watching some of that dust off in the distance, maybe clearing a little bit in our area, but we'll turn that a little bit more to the right there. And you can still see more of that dust north of town and then off to the north and east. We've had some rain here locally to help out with that dust stuff. But that here is dust, and then this is the rain that has come on through. Let's take a look at StormTracker Doppler here real fast, and you can see right now tornado watch still in effect for these counties in yellow. That's Decatur to Shelbyville to the east. Severe thunderstorm warnings at the polygons there. One tornado warning for a storm near Robinson. That has not produced a tornado as of yet. Still really strong and carrying off into Indiana. And for others of us, things are clearing out here. Coming up, we're going to talk more about what we are seeing with current travel conditions, road conditions, and more. We've got updates on power outage numbers, some of the damage, and we'll hear from Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty, who's in the StormTracker. That's all as WCIA 3 News at 5 starts right now.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA 3 News at 5.
For the second straight day, central Illinois is being hit with severe weather. Good evening. I'm Jennifer Roscoe. Brandon is on assignment. A sunny day turned cloudy and stormy this afternoon. High winds, thunder, lightning, and dust. WCIA 3's meteorologist Jacob Dickey is back with us from the Weather Center. All right, Jacob, you have a lot to get through. Take it away.
There is a lot happening here. At this point, the good news is that our severe weather threat, the traditional things we talk about, wind, hail, and tornadoes from thunderstorms, we're entering that time period where we're handing that off and lowering it. But we've had wind not associated with thunderstorms cause big problems. Champaign gusted to 69 miles per hour before the storms even arrived here. A very unique setup to cause that. We'll spend time talking more about why that's happened later on tonight. In the meantime, the what is happening now. Severe thunderstorm warning added for Ford, Iroquois counties. There's no storms close by, but it's the winds from these rain and thunderstorms that's been pushing up, mixing in and causing issues. We've got Champaign, Vermilion, and Edgar County also with severe thunderstorm warnings. There's a tornado warning storm down near Robinson right now in Crawford County. That one has not been a big issue as of yet. I think this graphic here tells the story a little bit better. We've got the dust storm warning and the blowing dust advisory. A lot of folks watching probably on their phone in the last 15, 20 minutes got the wireless emergency alert because the dust storm warning in place for travel conditions that are causing issues like that. This is a scene from the Mansfield area earlier. Look at all of that blowing dust across the roads there. There are multiple crashes and incidents reported in Mansfield off to the north and west towards Bloomington. Would advise no travel in that area. In the meantime, I also have a sky cam to show you. That's up in Gibson City. Look at all of the dust that is there causing issues with Ford County, with things out there. A lot of zero visibility reports coming on through. And then another video I have for you coming from the Hayworth area here that to show you what's happening. Look at the dust blowing around there, and it will restart here in a second. You can see the wall of dust rolling across the horizon there from these strong winds causing zero visibility and issues like that. Jennifer, IDOT has reported several incidents also on I-74 east of Champaign towards the Ogden area. It's safe to say with the conditions that we're seeing here with the blowing dust, the visibility problems and whatnot, that we will see more issues with that. Coming up a little later in the show, we'll check in with Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty, have more updates on those road conditions, and let you know about some quieter weather for the weekend before storms return. I'll have those details coming up in just a bit.
Jacob, that video of that dust cloud is just incredible. All right. Thank you so much. Now, the strong winds have left hundreds without power across central Illinois. Here are the latest numbers from Ameren: 371 homes without power in Christian County, 341 in Sangamon, 313 in Macon County, 256 in Logan County, and 113 in Champaign County. So hundreds are out of power with today's storms. Some are still trying to recover from last night's weather. One of those out was a middle school that had to cancel classes for the day. WCIA3's Tyler Hill live in our newsroom. So Tyler, what knocked it out?
Jennifer, Decatur school officials told me a tree fell on high voltage wires next to Stephen Decatur Middle School last night. They say the weight snapped one of the poles next to the football field and left the entire school without power. Ameren crews came out early this morning with more than 5 trucks and put up this new pole. The power came back on before noon. Now their focus turned from fixing the problem to evaluating next steps.
We have numerous storage freezers and refrigerators that the food that is for the schools is stored in. We had to move that, being a perishable items, we had to move them to other schools that have freezers for that to keep the food fresh and good. So it's been a little bit.
Here's the good news and something parents were worried about. The district said both graduation and the sneaker ball dance are still on tonight. As we said, it wasn't just the school dealing with a lack of power. Coming up at 6, find out how like friends dealt with the outages. Reporting live in the newsroom, Tyler Hill, WCIA 3, your local news leader.
All right, we'll see you at 6. Thank you so much, Tyler. Other news now, and new for you at 5. The Champaign County Sheriff's deputies have cleared the scene of a standoff. There was an armed, barricaded subject at Maynard in Halifax this afternoon. Our reporter Jack Crum was on the scene. He is live now. Jack, what can you tell us? What did you
Jennifer, Champaign County Sheriff Dustin Harmon says he was taken in without incident just about a half hour ago. And the situation here is seemingly winding down. But here's what I observed over my last hour plus, well, since I've been here. Now, there was 7 squad cars here earlier, and that included more law enforcement that showed up in unmarked civilian cars. There was also a tactical unit with officials in full gear. They have since left the scene. Both Menard and Halifax Drive just reopened about 20-ish minutes ago, and there's only a pair of police cars remaining on scene right now, so definitely wrapping up. Now, once we have more information, we'll be sure to bring that to you. But for now in Champaign, I'm Jack Crum, WCI3, your local news leader.
All right, Jack, thank you so much. Americans pay 4 times the price for prescription drugs than other developed nations. One senator is bringing attention to that price tag. Senator Dick Durbin met with medical leaders today to talk about how families are hurting from the high cost of health care. He criticized pharmacy benefit managers as a reason for marking up the cost of drugs. Durbin also criticized Republicans for their proposed budget, which includes cuts to Medicaid. He says will significantly impact Central Illinois.
Many of these downstate hospitals are hanging on by a thread. Some of them are in the red and hoping for a better day. But if you make a substantial cut in Medicaid reimbursement to these hospitals, they'll close. And they've told me as much.
Durbin is also pushing for a bill that would require prescription medication advertisements to disclose the cost of the drug. That bill has bipartisan support. The Graduate Employees Union has been bargaining with the U of I for 2 decades. Now it wants to more than double its size. GEO leaders say the organization wants to bring research assistants into the union. Right now, they represent about 2,500 teaching and graduate assistants on campus. This summer, they plan on voting to include more than 3,500 research assistants who work at the U of I.
Now that we're basically doubling the size of our bargaining unit, I think this is going to be one of the biggest higher education labor unions, like single campus ones in the country. I mean, it's a huge step. I'm just really excited.
If the research assistants vote to join the union this summer, if it goes ahead, they will start negotiations with the university to be included in the current GEO contract. A baseball tournament honoring a fallen officer starts today, runs all weekend. Plus, do you know what goes into producing a live sports broadcast? I'm going to take you behind the scenes of the PGA Championship.
Jennifer Roscoe, Brandon Morano, and Central Illinois' most accurate forecast with meteorologist Kevin Lighty. You're watching WCIA 3 News at 5.
The PGA Championship is in full swing in North Carolina, but do you know what it takes to put on a golf broadcast? Brian Stevenson gives us an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at how it all comes together.
Broadcasting a major championship is like watching an orchestra, but this orchestra is really, really big.
We have around 1,000 people behind the camera. We have, I would say, 200 cameras out there on the course.
Everywhere you look, you see a camera around Quail Hollow Club, and it probably helps that the championship is in a familiar place.
We have covered Quail Hollow and its incredible tournament since 2003. But this is a major. This is different.
To make it different, they incorporate a lot of tools and technology.
We have a 300-yard fly cam. We have 2 bunker cams. We have a sparrow cam, which runs through hospitality. We have a crane.
Yes, a crane with a cameraman on top.
His name is Cup, and he's 100 feet up in the air. It's an incredible piece of equipment, but it also is covering a hole that could make or break whether a player wins or loses the Wanamaker Trophy.
All the cameras, microphones, on-course reporters, and the graphics end up here in the broadcast compound.
We have around 20 18-wheelers, all doing specific things around the course.
From front 9 audio and video to back 9 audio and video, there are people working on graphics and replays of great shots. All the work going on in the fleet of 18-wheelers ends up in front of coordinating producer Sellers Shy and director Steve Milton, who has 50 major championships under his belt. In fact, a lot of the crew has decades of majors and Super Bowls to their credit.
The beauty about our crew is that the moment isn't too big. We're ready. I know the fans are ready to see us put on a good show, and I promise you we'll deliver.
All right, Mother Nature putting on a show today there. I didn't think we'd be talking about dust on a day where we're supposed to get all these major storms.
Right, it was a concern, and we thought, yeah, hey, there's going to be some dust, but we thought the hail would be the star for sure. It's been the dust really through this afternoon. I mean, there's the view in Gibson City right now, that blowing dust moving on through. And in some places, that dust has been bringing 0-mile visibility here. Coming up, I got new information, a state highway closed for the dust storm, other crashes reported, updates to power outage numbers. We'll hear from Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty. It's been active. We're here for you. We'll have more of that coming up after the break. All right, we're going to take some time and update you on what we know and what is happening here. Of course, with this dust storm, it's an evolving situation. Our cameras have been doing a lot of good work for us here. This is the Gibson City camera, and you can see looking to the ball field to the north and west of town, a lot of blowing dust showing up there. Also, we've been having some blowing dust issues in Champaign here. I'll bring up the studio camera to kind of see what we're looking at here. It seems like we had some rain come through town, and that has lessened the dust a bit. Looking a bit better here. Even some sunshine popping up, it looks like, here over Campus Town. And that there, looking to the south and east at some of those storms that are exiting down towards the Effingham and the Paris areas. I'll show you radar as well coming up here in a second. The big problem has been the wind. With these dust storms here, look at our current wind speeds. They're a lot lower in Mattoon and Effingham, 5 and 3 miles an hour, 31 mile an hour winds in Bloomington, 25 in Champaign. The gusts have been even more impressive out there with this storm. And you can see here, currently wind gusts are 40 to 55 miles an hour. Paris just gusted to 54 in Danville, 39 in Champaign. Our top wind gust that I've seen so far today, we hit a 69 mile per hour wind gust in Champaign. And that was well before even the storms arrived here with this blowing dust coming on through. Look at radar right now here. We have a couple of active severe thunderstorm warnings and a tornado watch still in place, but I really think the threat for that is winding down. I'll keep an eye on some of these storms here from Vandalia towards Effingham and Coles County. I don't think the environment is that favorable for things. This storm here was an earlier tornado warning storm in the Robinson area. Now it's got baseball-sized hail moving off into Indiana. And so this side of things, we're winding down on the potential impacts from that. Regional satellite, we'll zoom out a little bit. It's been a real big day for tornadoes and still is going to be in southern Illinois. There was a big tornado down by Cairo, and that storm in Paducah, another tornado warning storm getting ready to head towards places like Carbondale, Mount Vernon, and still going to be a number of active hours to our south, but I think we are going to be okay here for the rest of the night. We'll be here to watch things just in case. Here is a look at our tornado watch. It goes until 10 o'clock, but we've already cut back some of those counties out there, and so we'll see continual cutbacks on that here. We'll probably be done with it probably in the next hour or two. The bigger story has been the dust alerts here across the region. This here is the dust storm warning. It's this light brown polygon, and then we've got the blowing dust advisory around that. And it's been something that we've been watching through the day. I do want to check in with Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty, perhaps for a quick second here. And we'll bring him. First off, Kevin, things look clear where you are now. You're kind of coming in behind some of the mess. I've got some road closure updates I'll talk about after you're done. Kevin, what you got?
Yep, coming into Champaign now. Going to hop back on 74 there. Obviously heard about issues there near Mansfield, Farmer City, also St. Joe. We're going to pop back there. Again, look at the skies, though. Clear, blue skies. Off to the right is going to be where the cloud or the storms are still kind of located over there into Vermilion County. It's what you're seeing with the clouds on the right side of your screen. But we're about to hop on here, 74, go back west and see what kind of took place over there with still a lot of traffic issues, I'm being told, over near Mansfield to Farmer City. I'm probably going to have to hop off at the Muhammad exit because there's some backups there, I'm told, on the interstate, so kind of keep that in mind if you're traveling that way. For now, the StormTracker, we'll send it back to you, Jacob.
All right, thanks for that report, Kevin. This was video that he got earlier and posted on his social media. This was in the Mansfield area, and I'll show you some others in a bit here. The dust concern is highest now north of I-74, and then in areas that have missed out on storms today where we have strong winds coming in from the west here. So we may not be done with that quite yet. So that is something that we're watching. I'm going to roll through some pictures with you here real quick and show you some of the things that we've been seeing viewers send on. And this was the dust coming through. It was a wall of dust between Champaign and Bloomington. Blue sky, dust storm. That's about as classic as you get a number of these photos. I mean, that is stuff, you can bring this full. That is stuff that is reminiscent of the dust storm. I mean, just a wall of dust coming across central Illinois. A lot of you have been sending in viewer photos from these areas, and the zero visibility evident on that. Of course, we've got issues, some road updates for you. First up, US 136 in the Hayworth area is closed. Route 10 from the D-Land area is closed. I-74, no travel advised between Bloomington and Champaign. There have been some incidents, but the interstate not closed between Champaign and Danville. It's the Ogden area. Several semis were blown over from earlier storms. Just incredible to see all of this blowing dust that has been coming through the area. Real quick here, how about we give you some good news before we go real fast here. Tonight, conditions will improve as far as the storms go. By tomorrow, I think there's still some wind, and the weekend looking a lot better around here. So there's that forecast for tonight here. Temperature's still going to stay mild. We'll have lots of sunshine for tomorrow. Be a little breezy still, and I think that blowing dust may be a concern tonight. We'll be here watching that, but the worst of it is happening now. Tomorrow, then, it'll be windy again in the afternoon. Could that bring more blowing dust? We'll keep you updated on that. That's something to watch here. We're not as warm, not as windy, but certainly something that we'll keep an eye on. How about your 7-day forecast here before we go? Looks like the weekend is quiet on the storm front side of things, but next week, Jennifer, by Monday and Tuesday, and there's that 7-day forecast trying to pop up here. I'll have that for you at the end of the show, maybe. Monday and Tuesday, more severe thunderstorms possible for us here. We'll keep you updated on that. Have another check as well with updates during the 6 o'clock hour.
I know people are feeling a bit of fatigue from these storms next week. I don't know if they want them. All right, Jacob, thanks. Be right back. Will be held. The action starts at 5:30. They thought it might have had to have been delayed, but the sun is now shining. They say on Facebook, Chris gave us some beautiful weather after that storm. It's happening in Forsyth Park. There's a full schedule of events planned for tomorrow and Sunday. There'll also be a police parade at 10 a.m. Saturday with the official tournament ceremony. A portion of the proceeds will go to Concerns of Police Survivors Illinois chapter. The tournament honors the memory of Officer Oberheim, who was killed in the line of duty in 2021.
All right, everyone, looking at our stream right now, and that is Max 1 that's in place here. So I need to get Max 2 up. So if you want to put that in the source for me here, and I'll get radar. A new big storm firing up actually at this point, and that is going to be down in the Effingham County area. I had some optimism, but it has exploded in size here. So we see that, and we'll talk about that. New severe thunderstorm warning for Effingham coming on in here with that. So you got me up on there. That sounds good. So we're probably going to stick with this for a little bit here and kind of monitor things because this was not here 15 minutes ago, what we were seeing. And so going to keep a very close eye on that. I want to get the latest info from the National Weather Service. There are so many things happening here. We've got severe weather. We've got dust storms. We've got big problems from that. Many crashes, many problems being reported on interstates and roads and things of that from this dust storm that are coming on through. So just trying to get some of the latest information here and keep an eye. Hey, Troy, can you let production know to stand by? And I'm going to just have them sit by with these storms as you walk back there for me. Just kind of watching some things here and keeping a close eye on it with these developing storms, particularly in the Effingham area. Right now, that's a big wind threat with this storm and a hail threat here. There's going to be some $half size hail that carries off in the northeast direction. That's going to carry it towards Effingham. And then we're also going to keep an eye on those storms in Coles County. This one catches my attention there south of Mattoon a little bit. It's kind of in the area of the warm front. And so perhaps we may see something that kind of gets issued here in Coles County before long. I don't see anything right now, but if you kind of look here, right here, a little bit of spot there over Lerna and heading towards Charleston. So we're going to get the camera kind of looking at that here. We've got Adam Sherwinski that's in the studio. I think I'm still on and whatnot here. I want to see if there's any reports that are coming in. Dust reports have been all over here this afternoon and evening. And I'm just kind of looking at some of them as I can here. There are so many of them. And just tons of stuff going on. I mean, I'm seeing reports of crashes all over the place. Just scrolling through things going on. The current warning we have is down there in the Effingham County area. So we'll watch that, keep an eye on it. Just keep an eye on that Coles County storm here as well. So I think we're just going to continue coverage, Adam, from what I'm seeing here. That's the view in Champaign. Now, that's the storm there looking to the south. That is going to be the Coles County area. And by chance, Adam, do you have me on screen? If you can put, it should be on the router 5. And you can just kind of have that between, keep it up between full, and I can control from here as long as you got those two back and forth. So that is the Champaign looking to the south and east. Now we turn that camera in that direction. You can see that storm quickly firing up in that direction. And so that's something that we'll keep an eye on closely here. We do not have a tornado warning from this. There is some rotation that's showing up with that, but just kind of keeping an eye on things as things move on through. So pretty serious situation with the storm still to the south, to the north. It's been the dust. I'm going to get the cameras moved here in a little bit. Here's the latest of the dust warning. I am seeing reports come in from folks about crashes. Route 9, Route 10, US 136, Interstate 74, I-70, I-55. Really, this whole area is just a dusty mess with people that are experiencing issues with that. And I don't have a lot of official information, but I have some concerns about the seriousness of some of those wrecks that are out there. We're trying to get information. It is hard to get information when there are so many things happening. You know, we can say, hey, state police, can you tell us about this? Can you tell us about that? Can you tell us about what's this going on? There's so much happening that it's hard for them to even keep up. And so the magnitude of this dust storm is pretty substantial here in the area as we move on through. So that's what we're watching there. Let's go back to the sky cams because I got the Charleston camera, and I'm going to pop that up. And Adam, we're going to do a little exploring of that Coles County storm. It's just a little interesting looking to me here. A new severe thunderstorm warning just came out for Coles, Douglas, and Edgar counties as well here. And that's going to be for some $half size hail with that particular storm. So let's get that Charleston camera. Look at the rain coming down there in the city of Charleston. Some of these storms still exploding on the south side of things here. Still a lot of unused energy in spite of that. And so we'll turn this camera. I know we've got a tree that kind of faces east and southeast, but I want to look down to the south. Folks are now getting hail in St. Elmo, Altamont, and in Effingham to the north and west there, kind of up Keller Drive in the direction you head towards Stewardson, Strasburg. And so just making a scan here in Charleston as well. And it looks like perhaps we're getting some hail there also with that heavy rain in the Coles County area. So we'll keep an eye very closely on that as we move on through here. We'll get the map back up here. So here's the storm that is down there south of Charleston. Pretty concerned now for hail at the Coles County Airport and to the east with that storm there. I don't think that's actually strong rotation. I think there's what we call some side lobe contamination. So that looks like a couplet, but I don't think that actually is. However, I am still monitoring that for developing rotation. We may not be done in the Coles County area yet. We may not be done as well down in Effingham County. We're just going to have to watch both of these storms, these clusters of storms, pretty closely here. And I'm kind of scanning in between radars to get an eye on things. But certainly there's a lot of hail with both of those storms as they move their way off to the north and to the east here. Tornado watch canceled for Champaign County and also canceled for Piatt and Moultrie counties. That taking out those counties, they still have the tornado watch where the tornado concern primarily now, if any storms are happening, is going to be here south of Champaign and off towards areas south of Danville. That would be this stretch right here. I don't know, Adam, if you're kind of looking at some of the things as well. What mic do you have on by chance? You got the weather mic on. You've got 7? Can you find 8? I think 8 is the one Seth had. If you put on 8, we can get you to talk on the stream as well, and that might be helpful for a little bit here. There's so many different things happening, and so we are keeping a very close eye on that. Big storm there in that Charleston, and big storm as well in the Effingham area from that. In fact, let me turn the Effingham camera as well while you get set. Where are you? Yeah, we're good minds think alike, right? So if you put that in, or I got it right here, and then I've got it up to turn as well. If you want to bring it full for me real quick, Adam, and then I'll show you something while we're on digital with this here. So this is looking to the south and west. So I'm going to turn this more to the southeast, and then eventually, we were looking southeast, now we're looking southwest, and eventually more to the west here, where that developing storm is coming onto. And that's a big storm coming into the Effingham area from what we can see there. And then for you, Adam, just so you're aware, your mic is on now. You're there we go. It's on. So why don't you go ahead and talk a little bit about what you're saying if you want to take over for a second?
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, you're good. I'll be back here in about 3 minutes. I want to take some time to get things done with this.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we're watching across the region here. We're just kind of getting ready for just kind of these secondary storms that are starting to pop up here. So keep that in mind. Here's a look right now at the Effingham area. And if we switch monitors real quick, you'll see that we'll have our next opportunity to look at a little bit more of the shower and thunderstorm activity coming through here later on for us. 1 second, folks. There we go. We're going to switch it here right now. There you go. I'm back on my computer. So there you go. You can see that we've got some more storms down to the south here that are kind of really fired up over the last couple of minutes there. Some severe thunderstorm warnings with it as well. And I'm seeing those areas of pink, and you're probably wondering, what do those areas of pink really mean? Those areas of pink, those are, well, possibly some heavier amounts of hailstones possibly there, or maybe even some heavy rain as well. So there's a view there. Altamont, Shumway, Effingham hasn't gotten the rain just yet. Some of the heavier rain, but Altamont to St. Elmo got a couple lightning flashes there on the camera real quick. But overall, we're just kind of watching these cells as they move on through. But very typical standard supercell structure here to some of these storms. And then up towards Charleston, some heavy precipitation right now. I'm going to flip it over to the camera there in Charleston real quick, because I just want to see what's going on downtown there, seeing what it looks like there from a precipitation point of view. I bet you there's a good amount here. Let's pull it up real quick. And yeah, it is very heavy precipitation there in Charleston. So no surprise there. So we've kind of contended with the dust. Now we're back to severe weather yet again with those severe thunderstorm warnings across the region. So keep that in mind. We're not quite done yet with the storm chances across the region. There we go. That's the Charleston camera for the folks at home that don't know. We've got a lot of questions on the chat about are certain spots doing all right, doing okay, are we done for the night? And some spots that are out of the tornado watch box already, which is some great news. The bad news is, though, we are still continuing with a few more cells out there for thunderstorms. The good news is I think once you get past 57, that's where a lot of it's going to be pretty much quieting down here. and down towards the south. Those are the storms that are in Effingham County, out towards Charleston, and even just south of Neoga, too, getting some heavier precipitation, as you can clearly see here. Just really I-70 getting hammered yet again between St. Elmo and Effingham. Really a robust thunderstorm right there. And then up towards Coles County into Charleston. Now starting to move its way into parts of Edgar County pretty soon here. The Oakland area, just to the southern northern end there of that thunderstorm. Ashmore probably getting pelted with some of that heavier precipitation. We just saw on the camera a few seconds ago Charleston getting hit with some heavier hail. Now that heavier possible hail and heavy precipitation just moving outside of town right now. Seeing some of the reports, pea-sized hail right now, a little hail in Charleston, which is some good news. We're not seeing the huge amounts here, but still just heavy precipitation overall with these thunderstorms. Very robust thunderstorms here, very healthy thunderstorms here. And that's that one that's really just stretching between Cumberland County all the way through Effingham County. Again, Altamont and just outside of Effingham, probably getting the heaviest amounts of precipitation north of Montrose, too, as well. We're going to turn it right back to Jacob real quick, who's got another view out there. We're going to switch over to his map because he's got the tornado watches. You can already see some of the spots that have been canceled within that tornado watch. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, this is a very active day right here. Well, first off, we're basically dealing with two issues. Dealing with the severe potential with hail and maybe from the south. We're also dealing with the dust to the north here. I know that we've got the dust storm line that's been extended to McLean County. National Weather Service is talking specifically about a couple of channels of dust in McLean County, east of Bloomington. That's going to be I-55 and up into Fort, Iroquois, and Livingston counties where we're seeing those issues. Dust storm or in place up there. Then, this severe thunderstorm warning in Iroquois County, it's archaic. It's not an issue right now because it's blowing dust. There's no storms up there. This is the new storms that have arrived here, still taking on a favorable environment. No threat with those is coming up. I have not seen anything specific besides hail in Charleston. I think that's about what you saw too.
That's what some of the reports have been showing. And then a lot of clearing happening there in Charleston, which is really quick with those thunderstorms. That's what the chat's been saying right now.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised by that. I don't think this is going to be a storm that produces the concern for baseballs that we had. At this point, I want to say no to that, but I think we could still get some quarters and larger, maybe up to golf balls with some of the storms that are starting to pick up. Particularly this one that's now east of Charleston still sticks out to me. But this whole line here coming into Cumberland County and Effingham here, we kind of got a little juked, I could say, with the surprise right there. And so you can see these storms kind of picking back up with instability that's in place. Behind that line, the front is located here. So we can get it all clear for the severe weather threat for Champaign, Decatur, Bloomington, areas that are in Fort, Livingston, Iroquois counties, Springfield, all clear, and almost Shelby County, almost Macoupin, Montgomery counties as well. It's these new storms that are picking that up here. And then there's this big storm that's coming out, the one from Crawford County, with baseball-sized hail and larger, as well as that tornado threat in Indiana. So we still have those ingredients there. All right, so real quick, we're going to take a moment and just kind of take a pause. That's a little bit better with that. So I think they were picking up on your mic.
That might be my bad.
Turn it back on.
That's all right.
So we're kind of watching the storms. I hope you heard a little bit. We're going to take a quick break here for those who are on the stream for just a second. Jennifer Roscoe's in the studio. She's got to take care of one thing on the side, and so on our digital stream, we'll just pause for a minute here, and then we'll proceed back here in just a second.
Okay.
I think we're back. You just gotta have 5 on.
Just 5?
Yep, because if you turn the others on, Kevin will be on.
Yep, that's right. That's right. I got them off.
So we're back on our digital streams. Apologies about that little delay. We had to do some prep work for the newscast and kind of reset ourselves here. So we are back. You guys can hear me, make sure as well. Adam Sherwinski's in here. I'm here. Kevin is in the StormTracker. This storm right here is one that we're watching. It's now east of Charleston. We saw some hail from that. They've added the tornado possible tag on this storm as it moves into Edgar County. It's in a favorable spot. We kind of mentioned that before we got to this point that, hey, this might be something to keep an eye on. Let me check the things here. When you need to talk, just turn yours on manually. Somebody's saying there's still an audio issue and echo, so I'm hoping that takes care of that. So people can hear me still, which is good. We are now looking at that storm, and there could be some quarter to $half size hail with this particular storm as it moves to the north and to the east. This storm now coming into Effingham, the tornado potential is increasing some here, but also golf ball size hail now coming into the city of Effingham. So we're not done yet. We thought we might be, and then these storms, they went up quicker than, they went up super fast. And so that is what we're continuing to watch. The hail size is increasing with that, likely some golf ball size hail in Effingham. 6 o'clock, we'll roll with the flow for this first half of the 6. My 6 p.m. producers in here. I'm going to talk to Kevin. I think you're leading with me. I'm going to hit dust and this. Do you guys have road closures, power outages? What do you have?
I got that 74 that we got.
Okay, yep.
I got power outage.
Cool. Okay.
I don't have is
roads. I'll take care of that with the blowing dust. Perfect. We'll take care of that. Yep. I'll include that in that forecaster. And I'm going to roll for a while. I don't have a plan to. I'm just going to get my info out and then we'll go from there. Cool. That's the fun part about planning is in the digital stream. We've got golf ball size hail confirmed in Effingham. Just got a message about that.
I'm pulling up the Effingham camera right now.
That'd be great. And let me just pull that in mine, and then you can bring it full screen as well. And I'll let the National Weather Service know.
It's struggling. It's one of our more steady peaks.
Yeah, and that's a little farther south. I'm guessing that hail is on the northwest side. A lot of hail in Lake Sarah area as well here. So not surprised by that. That camera, I think that's facing southwest. Can we turn it a little more to the, I can do that here. Hang on. You got it. I'll let you do that because I'm keeping keep an eye on that Charleston camera as that storm pulls away from it in the. Yeah, there you go. That's where we want to look, is right in there. Keep going to the right. You got to keep going to the right. Yeah, you're looking southwest there. So we want to get more of a view to the northwest where that hail is.
That is the north, right? Straight north right there. Pull up here. That's straight north.
Okay. Yeah, that is, isn't it? Okay.
A little bit to the north, right?
Yeah. We're kind of looking. Yeah, we're kind of looking at how things are panning out here. So, yeah, that camera's shaking around, and that big hail probably is up Keller Drive. See the other things happening. I mean, the reports just keep coming in and in and in and in from what has happened in Bloomington to Muhammad. So I think the priority at this point to me, trying to prioritize all of this, is that first off, blowing dust continues, I-74 and north. I-74 impassable at this point between Bloomington and Champaign due to a number of factors. There's also been some incidents east of Champaign. It seems like that was less impacted. And then I know there's a lot of issues up in Ford and in Livingston and Iroquois counties, and there's been a lot of calls of assistance from Ford County to go to McLean County and help from some of the fire departments. A lot of things happening, and so we don't have the scope of things quite yet. We've asked to figure out what exactly has happened, but it looks like there's some big issues. 136 closed from Hayworth to McLean. I-55 is closed from Bloomington to McLean. So you can imagine just how rough things are in that stretch. And that blowing dust is moving to the north and east. So really, this whole area was hardest hit by that, moving in that direction. That's interesting to see. This storm that was earlier in the Crawford County area, that pink box now indicating a confirmed tornado on that storm, that's moving into Indiana. So we got lucky with that storm exiting. Let's hope we get lucky with these storms down here and don't have too many problems. But this storm that's over the Effingham area right now, again, right at Keller Road and on the north side of town. I'll put that camera up in a minute. That's where your hail is going on 32. Eventually, that's going to cross 45 and go right over 57 and 70 there. So I'll pop that camera back, and we'll see if we spot anything from that. And we'll kind of pan it around and down to take a peek at the picture. But we will go with the flow with these things here. It looks like at the hospital, I'm not seeing a whole lot. Looking at radar, I feel like, Adam, that southwest part of the storm is kind of more on the south side of the camera. So why don't we just take this for a little spin really quick, and we'll keep a close eye on that and make sure that we got eyes on it. There's the south side. Wow, okay. That's a wall cloud down there. We've got a tornado warning, Effingham County. Production, let's go ahead and hop in the air for a tornado warning, please. Hop in the air, ASAP, tornado warning. Jennifer, can you let them know in back, or Adam, walk back there? Make sure that they hear me. And you go on as soon as you get it. For this tornado warning now for Effingham County. And while we're getting set for that, then Adam, I'm going to switch this to the production switcher. You know how to do that? We're good for now. You making a call? Cool. We're just standing by here to wait. The production switcher ready to flip on that. You'll have to probably put it in source 6, 7, or 8. Developing tornado southeast side of Effingham. And so we'll get that in a minute here. And then I'll start. If I need to switch, I can walk over there and get that as well. As soon as we go on here, we're waiting to get on TV for a tornado warning coming into Effingham and northeast from this storm that is in that direction. So again, just waiting on our TV to give us the full signal. They'll roll the open. You just go, and we'll take care of it from the back. We are back with a new tornado warning that has just been issued for Effingham, Cumberland, and Jasper counties here. This is for a storm right over the city of Effingham at this point now. Effingham, shelter now, a possible tornado developing over the city and moving to the north and east. This is going to follow along I-70 north of Dietrich towards Montrose, and eventually, not at this point, the warning does not include growing up in Toledo, but we'll be moving in that direction. I'm going to get the sky cam up as quick as possible and control it. You can bring Max 1 full in the back here. It looks like the wind is blocking the camera. Max 2, I'm so sorry about that. The wind is blocking that camera, and we're not seeing what is going on quite yet. But earlier, we did see a wall cloud with that. And that has been something that was on the south side of town. It was really impressive. As we were talking about it internally, we said that it looked pretty interesting to see. And so that is what we're looking at with this new tornado warning for Effingham County. There has been golf ball size hail reported in the city of Effingham. Also, we've had a report of power lines down at Lakewood Manor from that storm. I think also, I'll have you confirm, Adam, we got a new severe thunderstorm watch for Livingston, Ford, Iroquois counties. Can you follow up with that and give me some more information with Adam Sherwinski in here? But we're going to spend our time talking about these storms that have redeveloped and fired up in a hurry here down in the southern part of our area, down in I-70. And it seems like this has been a real rough year for this stretch as well, with a lot of severe weather. So currently now, looking at the storm, it is sitting over the Effingham area. Go ahead and bring me back, and I can point some things out now. This is going to be downtown Effingham right here. We're looking at the southeast side of town, Illinois 33, a possible tornado developing right here. It will be moving to the north and east. Teutopolis has shelter now. The city of Effingham, stay in shelter right now. I'll give the all clear for Sigel. Downstream, then we've got Woodbury and areas north of Dietrich towards Montrose. Those areas need to shelter as well as the situation unfolds, and we keep a close eye on it here for a bit. Some reports of lots of hail in Effingham, and we've had that golf ball size hail reported there as well. And so we continue to monitor this. We've been on digital stream through most of the afternoon with a couple of things that have been happening. First off, the dust storms and the tornado warning. So this is that current storm near Effingham, moving rather quickly to the north and east. Some strong winds being reported, a potential tornado developing, and that is something to keep an eye on. Let's just talk about the other active warnings that we have here. A view of those real fast. That's the one storm. It looks like the hail core is now at 45. That's going to be from the quick trip north up 45 in the direction of Sigel. But Sigel, it's past you. And that latest radar scan now carries that hail core at the 7057 interchange and north of Teutopolis. And the tornadic part of that storm is going to be right here over 33, just southwest of Teutopolis, where that developing tornado is. So keeping a very close eye on that storm. Real quick, up the line, severe thunderstorm warning still in place for Paris area, for Edgar County, for northwestern Clark, southeastern Coles, and Cumberland County for these storms moving on through. We've been keeping an eye on this storm near Kansas. There's been some weak rotation, no tornado warning, but that red outline is a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible box on it. And so there's been some indication. I'll just take a quick view here. And again, we're in an area of the world where the radar doesn't get as good of a view, but there has been some weak rotation aloft in that. The radar beam is up 6, 7, 8,000 feet up in the air. We don't get as close to the view to the ground as we would normally like here. This is the storm that is concerning here, and really for our area, about the only storm we have now, becoming a very strong supercell thunderstorm that we're keeping an eye on. Adam, if you also want to keep on that Effingham camera, as it's moving away from town, we might get a view to the east of that as well. But you can see here, we've got the severe thunderstorm watch added to the north. I'm not sure that we need that. I think it's mainly the wind and dust up there. It's this line of storms right here that is still causing issues. And the ingredients favorable for tornadoes most along I-70, basically south of that line. A couple of notes about the dust storm for you here while we've got you on air. First off, it's 5:59, and programming note, WCIA 3 News at 6 starts now, and we're continuing coverage on the weather here because of the tornado warning, but also the dust storm warning that's been in place here. I'm going to drop this pink boxes real quick from this graphic because I want to focus just on that. Sometimes the graphics, we have to just manually update them and whatnot because I want to focus on the dust storm warning and what's in place with that here. So here we go. We'll make a drop there. Livingston, McLean, Ford, Iroquois County. It even carries further to the north. Champaign, DeWitt, Piatt, Vermilion County included in that. I-55 is closed from Hayworth to Bloomington. I-74 is closed between Champaign and Bloomington, specifically from the Mansfield Farmers City exit onward is what we're watching with that. We've got Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty in that area, and I think we've got our boxes up real quick. Let's bring him that triple box up. He is looking there at the dust storm and the impacts. He's at the DeWitt County line. It looks like traffic is moving some. The bottom camera, the tornado warned storm now east of Effingham heading over to the Teutopolis area. Adam, you're looking right at it. That's the spot that there would be if a tornado were to drop there. So there's that shot with Kevin. If we can real quick, I'd like to check in with Kevin if he's available. I cannot hear him. He might be outside looking at things here, but let me just pull up real quick here and see if we can make contact with Kevin. Kevin, if you can hear us, I'd like to have you tell us more about what you're seeing and where you are.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay, great. So again, I'm here along I-74, pretty much right before the Farmer City exit, where traffic is backed up. You can see, I believe this is where we had several accidents that occurred a little bit earlier due to the dust here. I will tell you this too, it is kind of wild. It is still a little dusty out here because you can still see, I mean, the wind is blowing pretty good. You might be able to hear it on my microphone here, but traffic is really backed up. This is I-74 westbound Farmer City. At Mansfield, they actually have it closed here. Looks like there's maybe a few trucks that are up there that may have gotten into that accident, and so that's kind of what we're looking at here. Again, I just got on scene just a few moments ago, but you cannot go westbound at I-74. The traffic that you see here that's moving is traffic that pretty much got stuck there on I-74 before they actually closed down the exit there. So that's what we're looking at here. Again, right along I-74 between Mansfield and Farmer City due to the dust from the storms earlier. So that's what we got here. For now, we'll send it back to you in the studio, and we'll have another report. We're going to try to get the drone up in the air. I don't know if we're going to do that or not. I think it might be a little bit too windy for that, but we'll do our best to maybe keep a little bit closer view of some of those images. So that's coming up here in a little bit. So we'll send it back to you out in the studio.
All right, thanks so much, Kevin, for that. So we'll keep this triple box up for a little bit because Kevin's giving you some eyes there. And if we need to, then we can go to a double box with this Effingham camera because I want to talk about that more. In the studio is meteorologist Adam Sherwinski as well. And Adam, I'd like you to talk more. You've been watching that camera for a bit here. There's something that's trying to happen, isn't there?
Yeah, we're watching right now kind of the rain-free base area of this thunderstorm. And really, that's kind of spot if you're going to see a tornado or kind of the funnel cloud form, that's a spot to see it right now. I'm going to pull the camera again, kind of finagle it. So if I move too much, I apologize. But that's the area we're kind of watching on the edge of that thunderstorm there. That rain-free base is where we're going to want to see if it starts to develop. And it has these little fingerlings coming out of there. But again, it's not really giving us that pure wall cloud look, though it's giving those signals out there. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Again, that rain-free base, really what you want to look out for is you zoom way out there. You can see where the rain is off in the distance. And then you can see, wow, that thunderstorm is really just towering, quite a picturesque storm there. But again, we're looking at the storm right now and just watching that kind of that base of that storm because that's where you would find that rotation. You would find that wall cloud. Therefore, you would find a tornado if there was one there. So we're going to keep an eye on this storm. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. I apologize for that. But yeah, we're just going to keep an eye on this. Really on the edge of town here. We're looking out towards the east and trying to see what we can find here. So, Jacob, I'm going to keep an eye on this storm for right now. I apologize if I'm kind of slow to talk a little bit, but that area does give me kind of something that I got to keep an eye out for, like an eagle eye out for.
Right, and if you want to, I'd like to keep that camera up there. Can we zoom out all the way? Because I want to correlate what we're looking at on radar with what's happening there. So capture that spot that Adam's focused on there. That is where that area of rotation is. We don't see a tornado at this point, but as he turns it a little bit more up there, you're going to see the rising updraft of the storm, that towering cumulativity. This is a developing situation for the Effingham County area to the east. The city of Effingham, all clear. City of Effingham is all clear. But you see that shot there. We're looking at the camera now to the west. That lowering is right here. There's the hook echo of the storm, the developing tornado now south of Montrose, north of Dietrich, and going to be moving into southern Cumberland and northwestern parts of Jasper County here. At 1:30, south of Greenup towards Hidalgo, next in line. No tornado warning for you yet, but I have a feeling that this storm is going to continue moving in that direction. And what I also catch my attention is I think that looking at this may take more of a right turn, which could keep it more in southern Cumberland County. We'll see how it goes. Sometimes things can change. The other interesting thing now is 2-inch hail in the warning for this in the Montrose area at this point, likely getting some very large hail from this storm as it continues to move on through. It looks like we're going to have the drone going up in a moment here. We did just get a new tornado warning for Clark and Edgar County, so I want to spend some time talking about that one. This one is going to include the city of Paris now, a second tornado warning for the areas from Paris down the south and Route 1 and continuing in that direction now as the storm now to the east of Kansas starting to pick up that rotation a little bit more. It looks like right here is where that rotation is showing up now. It's going to be about 4 miles southwest of Paris, likely to stay on the south side or just south of Paris. But city of Paris, shelter for me. Vermilion, Elbridge, it's heading in your direction as well as the rotation strengthening pretty quickly on this storm. And seeing that storm strengthen as it continues to move on through. We're maybe a little bit away from getting a tornado, but at this point, the way things are evolving, that storm could produce a tornado at any time. And so I want to warn folks on that. Our other storm that probably is the blockbuster storm is this one here. Brittany just messaged on our digital platforms. We are streaming on our digital platforms for folks in the warning. You can go to your shelter and safe place. She said it's hailing hard in Montrose, and she's in that. I'd be very curious about the size of the hail with what's happening there. Adam is keeping a close eye on the camera on the bottom. That's our Effingham camera looking off to the east and northeast at the Effingham storm that's now moving into southern Cumberland County and northern parts of Jasper County. The top camera is Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty. He is out in the Farmer City, Mansfield area where we've had multiple crashes and multiple incidents there because of the blowing gusts. We'll take some time to show the photos and the videos from that, but it was astounding to see what unfolded between Champaign and Bloomington. And even here in Champaign County, we've had our own issues from that, but he is getting us the first view of that in the state. I also want to get a story here with Jennifer Roscoe, who is in the studio. We've been doing a lot of things here. Typically, the weather, we handle it, and then Jennifer, we tend to pass it off to the news. You've got an update for us as well. Tell us more what you're hearing.
Well, you started to talk about roads. We can tell you the high winds caused a semi-truck to overturn on I-74. This happened on the westbound lanes near St. Joseph just after 4 o'clock. State police say the driver was brought to the hospital. As of 4:30, the right lane was shut down. We have been trying to get word from state police about what they are seeing. It's hard to get anything back from them because I think they're really busy right now. But we are trying, and if we get more updates, because I know people want to know, okay, I want to get on the interstate. Is it okay? Let's shut down. We'll let you know as soon as we get anything new when it comes to that.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for that. And just hold up time when you got something, and we'll make it work there to get you back in on here. I want to take a regional view as well. If you're watching and you've got interest at Southern Illinois University at Carbondale, there's a tornadic storm moving right into the campus there. I know there's graduation weekend for different places, so heads up. We're not the only ones dealing with this here, so we're just going to pivot south. That's right over Carbondale, and that's a strong supercell thunderstorm that'll be moving towards Marion and Harrisburg. So there may be some folks with connections down there as we end the semester and transition. And look at all these tornado warnings that have been in place here. They extended the new one now into parts of Clark County and Cumberland County. But there's been a big tornado-producing storm east of Paducah, one in Indiana, and then this line of storms in the backside here that are all tornado warned. Of course, we focus on our television market, but I know somebody watching has a connection to Southern Illinois University in Carbondale. A lot of students go there. Popular campus, a great campus for students to learn. And so just a heads up for folks there that those folks down in Carbondale need to shelter. I want to send it to Kevin in a second here, but I'm going to talk more about this new tornado warning. Pretty obvious. And have you seen anything, Adam, at all?
No, it's getting far enough away that it's hard to really see anything behind it.
This is going to be it right here, just northeast of Dietrich now, riding the Cumberland-Jasper County line and eventually the Clark and Crawford County line. Tornado warning, this new extension does not include the city of Toledo. It does not include the city of Greenup. I know likely folks there are still going to get some hail and some strong winds out of this, but the tornado threat looks to be south of I-70, more towards Hidalgo, Granville, Moriah, Moonshine, Casey, places like that. All clear Effingham County. All clear Effingham County. Want to stress that. Now we're focused on Cumberland County and carrying this storm off to the east. And then we also have this storm in the Paris area that's moving in that direction. And you might, Adam, use the media, the map to find the Terre Haute camera, because our sister station down there might be looking off to the north and west as well with that. So that's the latest on these tornado warnings that we have here. Again, no confirmation of the tornado warning here. Somebody just messaged and said, why are our sirens going off in Toledo? A lot of times, the whole county gets the sirens to go off for just a part of the county in the tornado warning here. So the part of the county gets a tornado warning, they set the sirens up. A lot of people think that this is a tried, true, and tested method. I trust the sirens with all my heart, and it's for tornadoes. It's used for a lot of different things here. And also treat it as you need more information, right? And a lot of times if the sirens are going off, we're here for you. So I'm telling you, in Toledo and in Greenup, you're going to get some hail. You're going to get some wind. The tornado threat, though, is south of Greenup proper. If you live south of Greenup, that's where this tornado warning storm is heading here for a bit. Let's go back to Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty. He's up in the air. It looks like, Kevin, from the Sky 3 drone, that we still have blowing dust in there. Tell us more about what you're seeing and how things are evolving there.
I drove out here a while ago.
Okay, all right, Jacob, are you on my shot right now?
We are on your shot, Kevin.
Okay, so so we're here. I just wanted to show this to you. There's still dust that's out there. Now, it's definitely not as bad as what it was earlier, but you can see where that dust would have came from, blowing across some of these fields here. And then as I pan over, you're going to see I-74 okay, where the traffic has been backed up, where they had some of those accidents here. But then that dust keeps kind of going across. And I'll just kind of follow it as we pan around, and you can see it goes right across the interstate, right before the Farmer City exit, where there's been some accidents there, and they're trying to get the traffic to continue to kind of move through, but obviously slowed down because of some of that. It looks like a couple semis over there that were impacted by this as the dust came across. You can see off in the distance there, Farmer City Water Tower, but we get here to I-74, and you can see all the traffic that is trying to catch up. And it looks like it's actually moving a little bit better than what it was even just 15 minutes ago. You can still see some police on the scene here. One of the semis there still on the side of the road as well. But obviously, still some wind. Things are improving out here quite a bit from what it was an hour or so ago. And I tell you, storms are done, but the wind has not died down much. So I know you're still dealing with some tornado warnings down there, so we'll get that back to you guys. But this situation, 74 westbound closed down at Mansfield. The last time we checked when we tried to come, we had to turn off in Mansfield and get on 150 to finally get over here. That's my report here from just before Farmer City along I-74. I'm Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty. We'll send it back to you guys in the studio with that severe weather coverage.
Thanks so much, Kevin. And I'll kind of give you a real quick view of what Kevin had earlier, some video that he was sent from that area, why the dust was so bad here. I mean, it was blowing through that area. And so that seems to come down from his report. So that's some good news, but we are dealing with the impacts and the effects from that and still gathering information as we can. We know, look at that. I mean, that's the wall of dust that came on through there. We know Route 10 is closed at the D-Land area, the D-Land Fire Protection District asking folks to stay away from a multi-vehicle crash. We know that US 136 is closed at Hayworth. I-55 is closed southwest of Bloomington. It's hard to travel as you get from I-74 from Farmer City to Bloomington because of this wall of dust that came through and caused many issues. I'm growing more concerned about the tornado threat here in the Effingham, east of Effingham now. I'm really starting to think that we may have a tornado that is about to come down. Unfortunately, our camera's a little far away. Adam's trying to keep an eye on it here. But right here in the Grove area, there is probably very close to having a tornado down at this point. Any reports in that area are appreciated. That is going to skirt the Cumberland County line. It's going to include areas south of Greenup, Hazel Dell, Hidalgo, Rose Hill, more areas where we're watching for those things. And to kind of give you another look at some of those spots that are impacted by this here, really think that Liberty Hill, Walla Walla, Jewett, you're going to be right in this area where the storm is organizing. And then as we carry to the east there, the Hazel Dell advanced area south of Casey, where this is heading, eventually heading towards the Hogetown and towards the Moonshine area with this new tornado warning. The warning itself does also include a little further south into Jasper County here. Newton, you're okay. Willow Hill and Oblong are okay. This is more going to carry right in the northern part of the county and that direction from that. I think we got a new tornado warning just issued as well. This one now for Coles and Cumberland County. That's 3 tornado warnings in the book for us now as we continue to watch things that are happening. This tornado warning is for a storm just north of Casey that's spinning up quickly here. This gives you an idea of how much atmospheric energy there is, and we haven't tapped into that yet in areas along I-70 where that tornado risk was up to a 7 out of 10. Now a tornado likely developing here on the north side of Casey along 49 between Casey and Westfield. Shelter there. Martinsville shelter. Castle Finn, Marshall shelter, places like that as this storm continues to move off to the east. And then still have an area of rotation that's showing up southeast of Paris now. I'll give it all clear for Paris proper, but if you live in Vermilion, Elbridge, immediately south of Paris, go ahead and stay in shelter for me as we continue to watch that storm continue to move off to the east. And other than that, then, assuming these storms can carry off to the east, then we've got nothing else in the area at this time. And that's something that we will continue to keep an eye on here real fast. Some more wind damage reports coming in. Jennifer Roscoe is in the studio, and you've got some information to pass along. I know it's been a windy day for many, and we're still dealing with tornadoes. What more information can you share with us?
Well, with that wind caused power poles that is to topple across central Illinois, we're talking about power outages in the area right now. City Water, Light, and Power says are at a number of power outages. This is in the Springfield area. The city says power poles were damaged and lines down. As of 5:30, there are about 1,000 people affected. It includes the Harvard Park neighborhood. Now, as for Ameren's power outage map, there are many without service. In Macon County, there are more than 5,700 people affected. As for Vermilion County, there's around 1,200 people without service. And then in Champaign-Urbana, 895 people are affected. But like you were saying, you now have weather warnings in Coles County and Effingham County. So these numbers will definitely be changing. So we're going to continue to update those as we get them.
Yeah, and I've been kind of looking at those numbers as well here. Statewide, it's 58,000 customers. Most of them are here in the center part of the state from that wind that came on through. So Jennifer Roscoe, thank you so much for that. Let's go ahead and bring the graphic, camera 3 up for me. And I'll just kind of talk through the latest update. I've not seen any updates from the National Weather Service, kind of looking at things here. I know folks are probably watching in places like Mattoon and Charleston and Neoga and probably in Paris and Kansas and up towards Kristen. What we've got going on is a tornado warning issued for part of the county here. It's a real small part of the county, but I'm very close to issuing an all clear for Coles County. Not quite yet. That may come soon, but because that sliver of the county there southeast of Charleston, east of the Diona area was issued, probably the sirens sounded across the whole county. And so that's what we're seeing there. It looks like the storm to the south still really impressive. Probably some hail in the Greenup area, south towards Hidalgo, crossing 130, and eventually in the Hazel Dell area, crossing 49 is off to the east, and something that we'll keep an eye on. Adam, you've got something to show on Max 1?
On Max 1 real quick. I'll show it right now just how crisp of a thunderstorm this is. I mean, this is quite the robust thunderstorm. We're looking kind of way out to the north and east here. This is quite the thunderstorm just looking at it from far away. I know we're kind of looking underneath to see if we can find where that rotation would be, but look how crisp those edges are. That is a clear-cut sign that this is a robust thunderstorm, and there's a lot still going. You can even watch it over time and see some of those clouds start to fill up a little bit more here. Those crisp edges tell me as a meteorologist that there's a lot happening right there. It's still got a good updraft in it, and no surprises that we have those tornado warnings if we've got that rotation in there too as well. It's kind of just taking that kind of like textbook shape of a cumulonimbus cloud and a very strong one at that. So we're keeping an eye on the storm because it's not done just yet. We obviously with that tornado warning happening right now, I would say areas east of Grove and near Hidalgo, Hazel Dell, those are the spots to watch out because not only are we watching out for the tornado risk, but also hail is a concern too as well. This is a robust thunderstorm too. I mean, this is a very textbook. When you look in the book, this is what you're going to find for a supercell or just a straight up good, strong thunderstorm here.
Yeah, and you kind of look, you see the church steeple there at the bottom.
Yeah.
Just left of that is where the tornado would be. But unfortunately, now we are
so far away.
We're so far away. We're 20, 30 miles away from that. And so that is kind of what we're dealing with. We don't have a camera in that direction. I know we've got some viewers. I did just get some video from the Dietrich area of some rotation. And so that doesn't surprise me. You can see where it is now. Hidalgo, it's rolling into you. It's just south of Jewett and Walla Walla here. 130 right here is where that rotation is. Greenup, it's not far south. The polygon line sits here. So the south part of town, when you cross down south in 130, I think there's some railroad tracks you cross down there. Pretty much south of there is where that's the case. But this rotation picking up along the Cumberland-Jasper County line. Hazel Dell, advance, eventually in the direction towards Moonshine. Who doesn't know about Moonshine, right? That is something that we'll watch. Also just got ping pong ball size hail reported south of Greenup. Just came across here. And a small hail also reported in the Paris area. Here's those other two areas of rotation that are showing up right now on the north side of Martinsville. The developing tornado showing up. This is a dangerous situation for I-70 and towards Marshall. And then southeastern Edgar County right here in the Elbridge area, a little circulation still left that's going to be crossing the Indiana state line. Many of these areas were affected back in March by that long track tornado. And now we're done yet again. And these areas have been hit hard through much of the season here. I-70 corridor has been lit up with storms all season long, it seems like here. So keeping an eye on things. Lightning-wise, I had some issues earlier. It wasn't populating all the way on my end. I know there is some lightning out there and the thunder and the hail from that, but we'll keep a close eye on this. Tornado warning for Cumberland County continues until 6:45, and so we'll be here through at least that far. For Clark County, the new warning carries us all the way to 7 o'clock. So that gives us an idea that they were very likely will be here through most of the newscast, potentially, is what we're thinking at this point. I think, Adam Sherwinski, you had some plans and making a sacrifice to be here. We appreciate that. We've got Kevin driving out with him soon as we can. We've got Seth that's been around helping out, so certainly been seeing things continue to evolve with that. And there's been problems from, let's see, I'm getting a text from some folks about all the crashes that are happening. Just hearing some reports come out, and there's going to be a lot of cleanup, and the news is where that will come in, so we'll have updates on that as needed. At this point, the priority is these tornado warnings, and that continues here for a little bit. So ping pong ball size hail reported south of Greenup. So let me just put that in the chat for the National Weather Service. And that way they get that information. We work really closely with the National Weather Service to share reports and information about what's going on. Toledo, all clear. I'll give you the all clear in Toledo. Neoga, you've been all clear. I know it's been a rough year for you. Some of you might have heard the sirens in Neoga for Cumberland County. It's a sunny day. What's going on? Well, it's the storm to the south and east here that's causing problems. And that new tornado update continues it through 645 for areas south of I-70, south of Route 40. If you live anywhere along, immediately along, and north of Route 40 and Interstate 70 in Cumberland County, all clear for you. It's going to be the southeastern part of the county, Hidalgo, Walla Walla that we're watching. My concern increasing for Marshall at this point. Very concerning for that, with the rotation stronger than it was here, just north of Martinsville. That's going to ride I-70 right into the Marshall area and could be a very dangerous storm. It is a very dangerous storm. But if we get a tornado out of this, then that's going to be something that we continue to keep an eye on. I do not see any indication of debris being lost yet. However, in this part of the world, our radar is a lot higher. Sometimes when the radar is closer, we can see the debris only 2,000 feet off the ground. We have to look 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 feet off the ground. And so to get debris that high, sometimes you have to have the tornado down and for a while. So I know storm spotters are in those areas as well, keep giving us eyes and keeping reports coming in for that. But you can kind of see here as we watch, there's the rotation showing up. You can see us bouncing through the radars here, trying to find the best one. There's that rotation north of Martinsville. There's still a little bit showing up southeast of Paris. We're almost good. We are good. North and west of Paris, all clear. Chrisman, US 36, Coles County. I'll give you the all clear from the tornado threat. There may still be a little bit of hail that shows up down in the Diona area. Paris is still going to get some hail out of this. The places like Hutton, Diona, Oilfield, over towards the Union Cemetery and the Parker Cemetery is kind of the last part there where that storm could still bring a little bit of hail, but winding down quickly for that area as well. The time now is 6:24. We're dealing with storms here on the south side of things. You've got something to share? I keep seeing your hand go up and throws me off for a second. Scratching your neck. That's all right. That's okay. I've been scratching my neck and head for a lot of things that have been happening today with all that dust too. I mean, it's been a very active day for us here. We technically have a severe thunderstorm watch still for Livingston, Ford, Iroquois, Kankakee, Benton County, Indiana. I don't think there's really much severe weather threat there. I think our threat is limited here just to this section. And assuming no other storms form, then we should roll things pretty clear. However, I'm going to zoom out for situational awareness. It looks like to me that areas from Effingham West will be all clear. So we'll keep an eye. It looks like that storm down here as well, just in southern Illinois. We were talking about the storm by Carpenter. Now it's into Marion. That's south of Marion, a large and extremely dangerous tornado now heading. You've got some relatives down that way?
I used to live relatives down that way.
Lake Egypt, right?
Lake of Egypt area.
Lake of Egypt. In fact,
that's just south of Marion.
That is a tornado emergency in southern Illinois for the Lake Egypt, Green Springs, Marion area, Crab Orchard towards Harrisburg. New coming in from that area, a tornado emergency in southern Illinois. So I want to get that information out. That large and extremely dangerous tornado from Marion to Gorville, that's what came through Carbondale, folks down there. So just a heads up as we're keeping situationally aware of what's going on. A lot of folks have family in Carbondale. I don't know if Southern Illinois University's graduation is this weekend.
I have no idea.
Somebody in the chat will probably let me know, but that's a serious tornado now that is in place down there. So something that we're watching. Let's bring the graphics full real fast if we can. And I want to check on some information here real fast. Just kind of checking some things. And looks like, okay, so we still have the tornado warning from the National Weather Service here for Cumberland and Clark and Edgar counties. That's our last little sliver that we're watching. And so we'll keep an eye very closely on that, these supercell thunderstorms that have erupted. That storm down by Marion is a big one as well. And so that's been the concern today, that we've been dealing with a situation like that. So let me get the chat up here. Adam, have you seen any more reports coming on in?
Let me just here real quick.
I haven't seen anything else.
No.
But that storm coming southwest of Marion is thinking of our Southern Illinois friends here tonight, folks, with what they're having coming through their area. Fortunately, we have not experienced that as of this point, and hopefully we can get these storms out of here. But it's been a real rough day for those areas down there, so you can see where we've been dealing with the severe threat. Some updates as well on the other side of things, and maybe we'll get the chance to talk to Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty. The dust storm warning has been dropped for a good chunk of our area. It is now a blowing dust advisory. That main wall of dust is not as big a concern for us here. At this point, there are still some sporadic areas, but we had a large wall of dust blowing across miles and miles of interstate, which has been a big deal for us. Update us on that particular part there. Let's bring that triple box back up if we can, and I'm going to see where Kevin's at. Looks like he's on the move, and it still looks hazy in the distance in front of him. Maybe from where he is. Let me just see if we can check in with him. Hey, Kevin, why don't you let us know where you are and what your next plan is here?
Okay, so again, I'm trying to navigate around this closed I-74 westbound between Farmer City and basically, well, at least Bloomington there. As you can see, huge. I mean, everybody's trying to get on these country roads and whatnot now. There's a huge, what do you call it here in front of me? That is hauling things, trucks. I mean, look at that huge motorhome. That was the word I was trying to come up with. It is still windy out here, and we're still getting that haze and dust and whatnot. And there are people that are on all these country roads trying to get around, and wherever their GPS is probably trying to take them to. So a lot of people out here are probably going, "What is going on?" But they still have the interstate closed down. I think there are other accidents that are up here a little bit closer to Leroy. So I am attempting to navigate up that way on some of the backcountry roads myself, just before Leroy, because it looks like there's a lot of traffic that is down there. Again, no storms here, but it is still really windy, and there's still being some dust that's being kicked up here in this general area, basically right here in DeWitt County, right near the DeWitt, and as you head into the McLean County area. We're going to travel along here and see what we can find, because again, we've had some of those accidents here that have closed down the interstate, and we'll try to get you another update with that here pretty soon. But it has been slow going all afternoon behind a lot of traffic and a lot of people out and about here on this Friday. So we'll see what we can get up here and come back to you a little bit later in the show.
All right, thanks so much there, Kevin. Next, I want to go to Jennifer Roscoe, who has some new information for us to share, and then we're going to talk more about these tornado warnings. First off, Jennifer, tell us more what you have.
Yeah, I want to piggyback off of what Kevin is talking about with interstates and what's shut down. We're getting some information rolling in from state police. This is as of 6:10, so about 20 minutes ago. Illinois State Police responding to 5 accidents on I-74 in the Troop 7 area, that Champaign pulls Douglas, Egger, Macon, Moultrie, Pyatt, Shelby, and Vermilion. They're responding to 3 accidents on I-74 in the Troop 5 area. That's DeWitt, Ford, Iroquois, Kankakee, Livingston, and McLean. Now, they're telling us that part of I-55 is expected to be shut down in that area. We're not sure where. They're not able to tell us yet what area of I-55, but they're expecting to shut it down shortly yet. So they will continue, if you're wondering, and maybe you're not hearing it from us soon enough, they are going to be updating their Facebook page. So if you want to know, can I go out? Can I get that way? Can I take a different way? Check their Facebook page, and they'll be updating there as well. But here's some good news. All of those crashes, they are telling us no fatalities reported. So that is some good news with that. We are working on getting some pictures. I know you are sending them to us on Facebook, so we're going to get those in. But for now,
all right, thanks so much for that, Jennifer. And something to mention as well, you talked about the interstates. I also know of several other crashes on a lot of rural roads. So it's been a mess.
The dust storm has really, really affected.
Right. Okay, we'll take a look at those pictures here coming up. Let's get back to the tornado.
Oh.
Well, we got some pictures.
Okay, yeah, let me tell you about this. Okay, so this is coming in from Bill Davis. Now, Bill was inside, and really he was just thinking about the dust storm and worried about that. And then he said he heard a loud noise. He went outside, and that is his barn. This is near St. Joe. This was actually just east of the semi-crash that was out there that we've talked about at St. Joe. You can see, I mean, the picture speaks for itself. He went outside. He's got part of his roof is gone. The wall is collapsed. It is all exposed. But here's the thing. Will Simmons talked to him on the phone, and Will told me that Bill is pretty upbeat. I mean, he says, okay, I'm going to rebuild. This is okay. He is okay. And of course, that is always the moral of the story, that the people are okay. Things can be rebuilt. So Bill Davis, we are glad you are okay. And yes, I know that barn will be rebuilt again. Okay, we did want to show, we've been talking about the storms also brought hail. We're going to show you some pictures now this is from Stephen Crawford. And this is in the Crawford County area, sent us these. Can you show us the other? I mean, these are big. This gives you a little more context of how big this hail is. That is, I know you have that graphic where the different sizes are. Kevin showed that yesterday. So baseball, I don't know where this falls in the graphic. I'm thinking that's pretty rare.
Yeah, that's definitely up there for sure.
For hail to be coming this big, and that is damage hail could cause. And now we've got some from Mackenzie in Robinson. And she had some hail out there, not as big. If we can show that one from Mackenzie here. No, that's Stephen again from Crawford County. Okay, Mackenzie sent us some, and I want to say, if I can recall from my memory, it was more like golf balls there in Robinson. And do we have the last picture, the rainbow? Okay, because we want to show this. This is from Caleb. Thank you for sending this. In Mattoon, this is what he saw after the storm rolled through there. Beautiful rainbow, and reminding us of good and hopefully not too much damage out there in central Illinois from these storms.
Perfect. Thanks for those reports there, Jennifer. I want to get back to our tornado warning and talk more about that here. First off, you can see on the top right screen is Kevin. He's continuing to bring us more information, and Jennifer's been working on that as well. If we can put the sky cam in the bottom right one, then I'm going to use that for a view here in a bit. But I want to talk more about this tornado warning northeast of Yale down here. Yale sits first off in the Hazel Dell area. The National Weather Service reported that there was a funnel cloud sighted. I'm not surprised by that. We were seeing some strong rotation with that. That storm now northeast of Yale. So Yale sits down here. Here's the Hidalgo area. This is now over the Moonshine area, carrying off to the north and east. It's 6:34. These storms are beginning to exit. So by 7 o'clock, we're probably going to be done. Maybe we'll be done a little early, but I think at this point we'll just continue with coverage and until these storms get across the state line with that particular situation. We still have a severe thunderstorm watch up north. I tell you what, it's going to be hard. You're watching in Pontiac, Watseka, Gibson City, Paxton, Chatsworth, places like that. It's going to be really hard to get any storms to pop. There's been that severe thunderstorm watch. I'm not certain that it's going to be much more of an issue here, but we'll keep an eye on it and keep updates going on that as well. And then to the south, we're getting really close here to giving it all here for Vermilion County, for Douglas and Coles County, and potentially Shelby County and places like that as well. They've not canceled that tornado watch for those areas. Some of the issues, if they've been very busy with these storms down here. We've got storms that are in central Indiana, storms in southern Illinois as well. I do want to recap real quick, folks. You're going to probably hear a lot of stories from the Marion area here. A potentially destructive tornado, a significant tornado just went through areas south of Marion. That's between Orville and Marion, the Lake of Egypt area, as well as moving towards Creel Springs. When I back this up for a second here, if you're looking for about as good of a image of a tornado that radar shows, that's a debris ball there. So likely in southern Illinois, we're going to be hearing some horrible stories coming off in that area. They have a tornado emergency issued for that area from Marion off to the east for areas south of Harrisburg. Those are rarely issued. We are very fortunate and blessed here in central Illinois that we have not had storms like that. Still dealing with 2 tornado warnings at this point here. They did extend tornado warning to include the rest of southern Clark County and northern Crawford County. There's Robinson. Earlier storm came through there with some big hail. We showed you that photo, that baseball-sized hail. This storm here probably has at least some golf ball-sized hail with it as it continues to move off to the east in Clark County. We're almost. I'm going to give it another 3 minutes. All clear for Cumberland County for a minute here, but we'll hold off on that for a minute. Looks like some quarter, maybe up to golf ball size hail possible as the storm moves on through. I don't see the golf ball hail immediately, but we'll keep an eye on that as it continues to move off to the east. And then that second tornado warning storm, thankfully not looking as aggressive on radar. Remember, though, we're far away from the radar here in these parts. So the Marshall area could still be a tornado in that area moving off to the north and to the east. Jennifer Roscoe, you've got another quick update.
Yeah, I've got some more road closures updates, and you had mentioned that it's not just interstates that were affected. We've got a tree down in Urbana. We've got some pictures coming in here from a viewer. This is at the intersection of Schertz and Anderson Streets. This tree blocking the road there, so that's showing you this is not dust. This is wind causing some damage there in Urbana. This is from Molly. Thank you so much, Molly, for sending this in. She's our digital reporter, and she was working overtime for us. Thank you, out and about, showing us that tree down. So definitely avoid that area if you're around there. And we're also getting this information in State Police diverting traffic off of I-74 westbound near Farmer City. They're diverting it into exit 159 westbound. So pretty much just know if you're anywhere in that area, you might have to find a different way to get where you're going. So I would just not be in I-74 over there near Farmer City.
Yeah, Farmer City to Bloomington, it's a mess. And I just kind of looked at some of the traffic reports through IDOT, and a lot of those towns dealing with a lot of traffic that is flowing off of here. 136 also having problems. IDOT is reporting, Jennifer, that 136 eastbound is closed in the McLean area between McLean and Hayworth. There's several accidents in that area from the dust. And we know of other crashes and problems in those areas. So we will be trying to get the information from those here taken care of before all is said and done from what has been a very, very busy day. All right, I want to put up the storm reports real quick. We haven't looked at that, and we're kind of getting to the point where we're probably in the next 10 minutes or so be winding down from the severe weather threat. But look at all the reports that we've had the last 2 days here. These are yesterday's and today's reports out there. Hail, wind, things of that. If you want to share your photos and videos with us, you can do so by emailing us, WCIA here at news@WCIA.com. And we appreciate those reports. It's good to know what is going on in your communities. We also know that there's been a lot of power outages around the state. Just checking some of those numbers here real fast. And it looks like the number at one point was at 58,000. That number is, get the reset here, now 60,000. A lot of outages in the St. Louis area. There was a big tornado that moved into Madison County. We've got 2,300 in Million County, 2,200 in Champaign County, 4,500 in McLean County, 4,600 in Macon County, and another 1,100 in Christian County. 60,000 outages, a lot of those centered here. And a lot of that came from that wind. The tree damage, the power outages, not necessarily from storms. Before the storms arrived in Champaign, Willard Airport measured a 69-mile-per-hour gust. And so that's something that's very interesting to see, just how this setup evolved for us here. So it's been a really busy and active period for us here. It looks like Kevin is crawling along there. We'll go over to Kevin and check in a little bit. We'll get a last update here. Again, looking at radar, tornado warning continues until 6:45 for Cumberland County. It's 6:40. Cumberland County, you're all clear. I'm giving the all clear for Jasper County as well. We're just here now for Clark and Crawford, and also far southern Edgar County. We're just from here to the north of Marshall. That's including the Elbridge area. There's probably some folks at home that are either nervous Nellies or feeling a little threatening by what we're doing here. The good news is we'll be on CBS programming at 7 o'clock for you tonight. So don't worry about that. We'd like to hear that. We do also have, Jennifer, maybe you can confirm that information. Did we get an official time for re-airing last night's episodes? Did you?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I haven't been paying attention to those emails. Look for that information.
Yeah, I think that I think that the digital team had something up, but before we
Oh, I didn't realize I was on
Yeah,
camera.
yeah.
My producer just said there's a Facebook post, and I was going where?
Yeah.
And now you all saw me just do that. Angel, tell me what account am I looking at? Okay, hold on. I'm going to our Facebook. Hold on.
So we'll come back down here and when you get that, we'll check back on it. Looks like at this point, west of Route 1 from Marshall towards Martinsville, you're all clear in the northwestern part of Clark County. That rotation now is getting closer to the Terre Haute area. And by this point, we really start to pass off to our friends. We've got Jesse Walker down there, great guy. He's covering this storm very well, moves in that direction. We tend to, in this area, hand that storm off once it gets past the Marshall area. And we're going to do the same here before long with the storm that is south. Now, it's past moonshine, which is good news. So you have to move at the burger place like I was. It seems like that storm moved on through, but there probably are some storms, some hail down in that area and whatnot. Rotation-wise, it's still there on the southern storm. It's a favorable environment. And because radar is showing rotation, remember, this is higher up in the sky. That on the bottom right there, that is that storm. It's probably scanning right about in here of that storm. Where's the tornado at? Down here, right? And so the stronger rotation aloft here doesn't always give us the actual view of that tornado because we're so far away, but there's probably still either a developing tornado or strong rotation on a wall cloud on the surface. Southern Clark County heading towards Route 1. That's going to cross the Hudsonville area north there. You don't really have many river crossings there. It's either you get up here to I-70 and then there's not much between there on the river down to Hudsonville, but a lot of people still call that area home here. And so Walnut Prairie, places like that, east of Moonshine, that to me is a growing, probably a more concerning situation here with that circulation right on the Clark-Crawford County line moving off to the east. Not far away from Indiana, but we'll get it out here. Again, all clear Jasper and Cumberland County. Before. Programming note.
Programming note. I am helping everyone out. So this is from our Facebook page. In case you missed the newest episodes of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage, I feel like I should read it in this voice, or The Amazing Race during Thursday night severe weather coverage yesterday. There are still ways you can watch it. So on Channel 3 tonight, 11:37, 30-minute Georgie and Mandy episode will be aired, followed by the full 90-minute episode of The Amazing Race. But if you are online, you can also watch those for free. There is a link on our Facebook page, cbs.com, where you can watch all of your shows, so you are not going to miss anything. And like Jacob said, we are going to be going to National Program.
Yeah, so that's the good news is we will just kind of tap our toes here for a little bit while longer and get these storms out of here. Still just kind of watching for our friends in Clark County, but you can see things are really winding down. While we've got the chance, I would like to talk to Kevin, the StormTracker here, and my ears just went off for hearing Kevin, but hopefully he can hear us. The bottom right camera is the Effingham camera. The top right camera is Kevin. It looks like, Kevin, you've been stuck in that interstate traffic. Talk more about people who've been diverted off the interstates. They're trying to find their ways to the next position, to the next place. We've got folks coming in for graduation in Champaign, folks that are not things of that. Yeah, we hear you, Kevin. Go ahead and talk more about what you saw earlier today and what you've been seeing.
Yeah, it is a mess of traffic here in DeWitt County, McLean County area. So basically, westbound I-74. Okay, if you're trying to get westbound I-74, basically from Mansfield on, you're not gonna make it there right now. Traffic is being diverted. You had to get off at the Mansfield exit on 150. And now I'm trying to make my way back towards Leroy, and I am unable to do so. So now we're coming up here to the intersection with 136, and oh boy, it's hard to kind of see here. I'll zoom in, but that's 136. Okay, all of the traffic trying to come in here. And then it's kind of meeting up with all of us over here. And then 136 going the opposite direction. It has been a frustrating day. I can only imagine for other folks here trying to get around and do things on a Friday night. But we've been battling traffic for much of the day here, and we're kind of stuck in it again. I'm smack dab between Farmer City and Leroy, and basically unable to kind of move a whole lot here. A lot of semis, obviously. Because of that, now I just saw that Illinois State Police mentioned that they have 74 still closed down because the fact that there's still dust, and I can still see dust being kicked up here along the interstates, And so that's why they still have the road closed there along I-74. So you're not even able to get anywhere. So again, basically where 150 and 136 connect is where I'm trying to get to. You can see here, if I go to the right, I go to Rantoul. If I go to the left, I can make my way towards Hayworth, but it is a slow go here at 136 and 150. Basically, this is where all the traffic is being diverted because they've got 74 closed down with that dust that was kicked up, and there's still some dust out here. So, hey, I'm getting ready to get to my spot here. So I'm going to throw it back to you guys. But and if you're traveling out here, you've got loved ones, and I got to tell you, I've had some intermittent, spotty kind of cell phone things, and maybe that could be related to some power or something. So don't be alarmed. They might just be stuck in all of this traffic and trying to make their way home here tonight. For now, in the StormTracker, we're going to send it back to you, and hopefully we can get home here before too long. But good thing is, it looks like we got some nice weekend weather coming. We still got to get through the rest of tonight, though. So we'll send it back to you in the studio.
Sounds good. Thanks so much for that, Kevin. Now, it's been an active couple of days here across central Illinois. Jennifer, we've been dealing with these storms. We're getting to the point where we're getting them out of our area, but lots to clean up, right?
Yeah, and right, we can't forget about the storms that we had yesterday. And it's not just people who had to deal with the fallout of that severe weather. Almost 100,000 dogs were without power after storms hit Macon County. WCIA3's Tyler Hill is with us. So Tyler, tell us, how did this affect the animals?
Well, Jennifer, workers say the main problem was making sure everything was clean, so hopefully those dust storms didn't kick too much into the kennels. Both last night and this morning, volunteers were forced to change and wipe down cages in the dark, but it didn't stop there.
Starting out about 8 o'clock last night, our volunteers were here. They stayed with our animals during the storm.
Shelter manager Lisa Lambert says they stayed until 10 to make sure the animals were okay, but when she got in this morning,
And our so a couple of us had to do some cleaning and everything in the dark this morning with flashlights.
they got everything done as normal besides mopping, which was done once power returned. Once that problem was solved, they turned to making sure all the animals could stay cool with the temperatures rising inside.
We've got doors and rooms open so that they get the airflow and everything through. If it gets too warm, we'll give our dogs some calm for them to. It's a frozen treat. We've got some frozen dog food, some frozen peanut butter in them. Our cats, most of them seem to be doing good. If we need to, we'll go get some battery-operated fans to put in our cat rooms.
Even Decatur Middle School had to adjust their plans as well. They canceled classes because of the lack of power.
Dropped a large tree on our high voltage lines coming in. The weight of the tree caused the telephone pole to snap in half. So there was quite a bit of cleanup, and a new pole had to be set in that.
But not everything was canceled. The school district says graduation and the sneakerball dance are good to go thanks to the work of Cameron.
They just got it back on about 11:45. It's great, actually. I came out here at about 6 o'clock in the morning, and they were already on job working, so happy they're here.
Lambert let me know the Humane Society got power back on just before noon and opened at 1 this afternoon. I also called her after those storms rolled through the cave. They still had power at that point, so it seemed to be all good, which meant one lucky cat was actually able to be adopted and hopefully find its forever home. Decatur School is currently bringing back food they had to move from the middle school because their freezers and fridges had shut off. Jennifer?
And I'm sure in Decatur, they're wondering, okay, we got today's storms, and I know they got it again. And I know parents and students just want to make sure graduation and the dance is happening. And I was just checking their Facebook, and it looks like everything's still on. We are good there in Decatur at Stephen Decatur Middle School to have that graduation.
Great to hear.
All right. Thank you, Tyler. Jacob, what do you have?
Yeah, some good news. How about that, Jennifer?
Yes,
Good news
please.
is that the tornado watch has been trimmed back even more. We just have a few counties left. Edgar, Clark, Crawford, Cumberland, Effingham, Jasper. It's going to be hard to get anything more as these storms exit the area. So by 7:30 or 8 o'clock, the tornado watch may drop for those counties as well. We're just going to carry those storms across the state line and get them out of here. They're crossing the Wabash River right now. I'll show you that. And then we will have a quick update on the tornado warnings here, and then look at some more of the photos from the dust here. It looks like to me the storm south of Marshall is the strongest, has the biggest potential to produce a tornado. That's going to be right here. Look at that strong rotation that's showing up here. This might make a run for producing a tornado south of Darwin near the Riverview area. Walnut Prairie is here. So we'll watch that, carry that to the edge, and see what happens with that. But boy, that's about as strong rotation signatures we've had, and all the radars are picking up on that north of Hudsonville. That's along Route 1 there. So will not surprise me if that turns into a tornado, but we are getting that out of our viewing area. There's also that storm coming into Terre Haute. Now it's to be a thunderstorm warning. I do want to take a quick minute to southern Illinois. This storm right here, a large, extremely dangerous tornado on the south side of Harrisburg. Eventually, that's going to carry it out into Kentucky. But we've probably got folks taking advantage of the weather, trying to get to this weekend and get an early start down there. There's another storm behind it. There's a big tornado south of Marion in the Lake of Egypt area. This storm here, Carbondale, Maconda, another supercell with big hail and tornado potential following in the footsteps of that first storm. Wouldn't surprise me if that went tornado one as it approached the Gorville area. And then even further south in Cairo, far south of County, a large, extremely dangerous tornado. They already had a big tornado earlier today that went that way towards Paducah. Looks like another one happening down there. So I think we've been very blessed, very fortunate in our area with the tornadoes. So far have not had big tornadoes producing any damage. Boy, we've been hit in other ways. From large hail, wind, blowing dust. Judy Fraser just texted me, actually, said that they had some tree damage at their place, but they're all good.
No.
Yeah, so...
Judy.
Yeah, she texted me.
Loves her trees. I hope it's not her pear tree. I'm texting her right now.
Yeah, it's her pear tree.
It is the...
Lost another half of its trunk.
Oh, that tree.
And
all right, I'm texting.
Yeah, she said we love the tree, so it's sad, but yeah. So we need to get Judy in the StormTracker Kevin sometime. What do you think?
No, we're keeping Judy. She can stay in here. I just want to keep Judy safe. At all.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We're writing things down here. We've got about 4 minutes until we're heading to regular programming. So the good news here is there are no other storms developing. I don't think we will have any more. We still have a sliver here. The counties have not updated on that, so let me just drop them so you don't see the wrong counties here. It's literally just right here that's got that tornado warning in place. But how about we take a minute here and talk about that dust earlier, some of the viewer photos that came in from that. Look at the wall of dust that came from McLean County. It was, I mean, like a dust coming on through, just a wall of dust that blew on in and caused those issues. What Jennifer was saying earlier, state police didn't have any fatalities on the interstate, which is good news. We still are getting more information about other crashes in that area. The one you're in that dust, you had views like this, or even getting like this here, all from the central Illinois area. This was in the Bloomington. I think this is the State Farm Complex on the left side there. Just this wall coming on through. And this is probably the most shocking photo to me. Is it's zero visibility. We'll be having a lot of issues. A lot of folks as well at home, probably with this dust storm, have just a layer of dust inside. Some folks are saying it was blowing through their air conditioning vents. It was going through their door. And so that's certainly going to be a weekend where, yes, the weather is quiet, but things are still maybe a little windy tomorrow. We're going to do some analysis and figure out exactly how strong the wind is going to be. But from the severe weather side and from the side and from the dust side, things are winding down pretty quickly here. Jennifer's got one update here. We got 2 minutes left.
Yeah, just really quick. We're hearing from Effingham County's EMA. Pamela, thank you for sending us an email. Remember, I said because those storms were popping up in Effingham County, we didn't know if there were going to be any power outages. But Pamela is saying that they've had a few power lines down because of the storm, but she doesn't have an exact number on if any people out there are without power. So we're still checking. We've got a whole newsroom that's been furiously calling and making calls to state police and EMAs and trying to get all of the links for you guys at home.
Perfect. Thank you, Jennifer. If we can as well, maybe we can get one last check-in with Kevin for 30 seconds. Kevin, if you can hear us, looks like you've made it into town. Talk more about your experience today.
A lot of stuck in traffic, a lot of reroutes, a lot of going on some different roads. I'm actually in Leroy now. Up here to the four-way stop that is in Leroy, and I'm going to try to turn back and go back westbound on I-74. There's still dust that's got to be blown around, so something to just be careful of. You can see here, look at all this traffic that is coming into Leroy. We're going to continue to keep you updated on this, but obviously you can see all the semis, still a lot of activity out here in terms of trying to get this traffic back to normal.
Perfect. Thanks so much for that, Kevin. And then last check here, our tornado warnings are exiting Clark County This here may have been a confirmed tornado right along and east of Route 1 in Clark County, south of the Walnut Prairie area. There were very strong indications of that. But the good news for us here is that rotation is now in Indiana. Not just for Indiana, obviously, but you can see that strong circulation center over the Wabash River. So Clark County, the threat now over for you. And that gives us all clear from the severe weather side of things. Coming up tonight at 10 on WCIA, we're going to have updates on those crashes, updates on dust, the impacts from that, more updates on severe weather and damage. If you have reports, please send them to us. In addition, I'm going to talk more about the weekend. The one thing I'm going to look particularly closely at is what's the wind doing tomorrow that may cause some more dust issues potentially. I don't know yet. I want to spend some time to dive down into those details, but we'll have that update for you online and at 10 o'clock. And then finally, we'll have some nice weather Sunday, but then Monday and Tuesday, more severe weather coming our way. I'll explain more about that. Jennifer Roscoe is here in studio. I'm Jacob Dickey. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty is out there. Adam Sherwinski and Seth Bohnhoff have been by. You heard from some of our reporters and our teachers as well. This has been severe weather coverage. We'll see you tonight at 10.